So let me actually connect what we did yesterday and what we are going to do today. Okay. And also let me start off saying that since all of you are HR community and HR professionals, so we are actually the custodians of what human capital. And we are the custodians of ensuring that uh, the human capital have the right kind of competencies to ensure that the business achieves excellence and also it achieves what results, because we exist not just to do something per se recruitment, just to do drive a performance management system or to drive career planning or a succession planning, right? We are here to ensure that we are what a strategic function where we want to drive business results. That's our core. And then if we want to drive business results, if we want to achieve a high revenue, high profits, high productivity, so it is very, very important and critical that the human capital we hire, we train, we appraise for performance have the right kind of competencies. The right kind of competencies are important because you can predict that people can perform. If we hire for wrong people who don't have the right kind of competencies, then you cannot predict that they are going to perform. So that is the attempt. In fact, yesterday and today, what we are trying to do is that ensuring the right kind of competencies are there, we know what they are, and then how to assess them, how to evaluate them, whether it is for hiring, whether it is for performance, whether it is for training and development, how we can use all of it. Okay, guys. Having said that, if you, I will quickly take about uh, 10 minutes so that to refresh the button as to what we did yesterday. What we did yesterday, having said that competencies are very important, we started off saying, we said competency is what it's all of it. It's skill, it's that is the know-how, knowledge, the skill, the motives, the traits, the self-concept. So it's all of it. It is not just knowledge, skill, okay? It's everything. And if you look at this, so the skill and the knowledge are the tip that is above the water, and the rest of it is below. That's the key. If you realize you may have the best of knowledge, you may have the best of skills, but what is submerged below? Your motives, your traits, your self concept. If I don't know what you are with regard to your motives, traits, if I hire you, I'll not be able to predict that you can perform. So, what is below the water is very, very important because that impacts the way you perform on the job. Got it? There is a connect which causes cause and impact, cause and effect. Now, having understood that this is a competency which is like an iceberg, what we are saying, we also said there is a cause and effect relationship. Then, as so, there are job competencies. That means every job requires certain competencies. Now, as you keep going higher and higher in the hierarchy, the technical competencies requirement becomes lesser and lesser. At a lower level, the technical competencies requirement, if you see, is higher. But with the complexity of jobs, and when I say complexity of job, the role and responsibilities keep increasing. Then my behavioral competencies in terms of strategic orientation, business acumen, my leadership competencies, they come into play. At a lower level, it is more like, the technical competencies. Also, the competencies change.
Screen froze.
Uh,
You have freezed. You are not audible.
Yeah, she is logging again or sharing the screen.
It is a little different.
Nirmala, your screen is not seen.
Vilma, I'm there. Can you hear
Yeah.
me? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm so sorry for this interruption. I don't know what happened, but suddenly I saw Shankar disappeared. So then that's how I got to know. Shankar, you are able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, okay, done. Good morning, Kamlakan. So, as I said, the competencies change at an organization level also with the life cycle. Okay, because every organization, say for example, your organization, what would you say? At what life cycle is your organization? Is it at a startup stage, at a growth, or at a maturity stage? What would you say? Anybody?
Good.
Huh? Manoj, are you there?
Growth stage.
Huh?
Growth stage.
Growth.
You are at a growth stage or a
Yes, yes.
maturity. You are at a growth stage, still trying to get your processes in place, everything. Probably,
Uh, y-
growth.
yeah, growth stage. Yeah.
Growth stage, Manoj. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So then what I said, competencies don't grow from bottom. One is, of course, we look at an organization structure and see where are the positions in this organization structure. That is the level and the grade. But competency framework is all top driven. So based on our vision, values, and strategy. So yesterday I discussed about how we derive the core competency framework or how we derive our core competencies. I gave you certain examples. Like, for example, Google wants to really what? Be very innovative, very creative. Amazon wants to be very reliable, speed, quality. So, likewise, even your organization, it could be it could be safety, right? Operational excellence. So, in order to do that, it's like not enough that I have processes. You also have to have what? Competencies, the core competency across all the organizations. I don't know if you have heard of a balanced scorecard framework where we talk about, saying that yes, revenue comes, profits come, but what and unless and until you have the right kind of processes and the right kind of competencies embedded or with the people, only then you can deliver what you have promised to the customer. Okay, you can increase your customer base, you can increase your profits only based on the competencies you have. So, having derived these competencies, yesterday we did 3 or 4 competencies which give strategic advantage, which gives that differentiation or competitive advantage from our peer organizations. Okay, so that I can acquire larger market share. Ultimately, what? If I do larger market share, I get more profits or revenues. All right. Then, but these core competencies then have to be cutting across the organization at all levels. Then, because the organization has different departments, or what we call it in an HR language, job families. Job families and job functions are the same. So, we identify competencies required for a finance function, for a HR function, etc., which again then give us to technical competencies or functional competencies within the people of that particular department and leadership competencies for every function, whether it is front level leaders, mid level, or top management people. So, with a combination of all these, then what happens, which get translated into behavioral indicators. Behavioral indicators, what I can observe, what I can measure. Because These are all labels when I say competency. Problem solving, it's a label. But what are the behaviors for problem solving, right? Taking initiative, trying to do, reducing the escalation, giving a proactive solution. So what are those? What are those behaviors? Behaviors which represent that competency, and then which can be measured, and then I will know exactly, hey, do I need to do some training? Do I have to improve his performance, etc.? So there is a direct linkage. This is what we talked about. Then we said we can use this competency framework for all our HR functions, right? Starting from what? Recruitment, performance management, career management, reward management, training and development. And how do you derive competency framework? From your business strategy. It is not in isolation. It doesn't mean that you'll have a certain competency which is not at all aligned with your business strategy. Okay. I will promise product leadership, but I'm actually my business strategy. I'm into what? Operational excellence. Because let me also tell you guys, based on your business strategy, whether it is your product leadership or whether it is your operational excellence or whether it is your customer delight, I will also all my recruitment policies, my performance management policies will align accordingly. For example, I just giving you an example. Now I am into product leadership. That means say for example Apple or Google. So I have to do the best products. So what I will be very high on R&D. That means I have to all the time do a lot of research and development, be creative, innovative to develop new products or new features in timelines. So what does it mean? I have to have the best minds. I have to recruit the best people. So what will my recruitment policy be? I'll be paying at a very high level. For example, who is that compensation person, Kamala Khan or somebody? I'll pay at a 85th percentile. I'll pay at a 90th percentile. Why? I don't want to get monkeys. I have to get the best minds. So therefore, pay high salaries. Okay. But if I'm into an operational excellence like Amazon, I have to have average kind of people who will work very, very hard. Huh? And I don't want very high creative minds, except for 1% of positions. Maybe my supply chain manager, maybe my logistics chief. But the rest of the 85% population will be at a 50th percentile or a 60th percentile. That means average minds who can work consistently on standard operating procedures, SOP. I don't want great creative minds. There is a process, continuous improvement is there, but they have to work on standard operating procedures. Why? Consistently, so that my productivity index keeps raising. Okay, so I'll pay average salaries. Now, have you seen the difference, guys? And when I'm like a Starbucks, more into understanding customer, I will get customer feedback through CRM. So my focus will be customers. So I have to understand their needs. I have to understand their likes. So I'll be having a CRM constantly to get customer feedback. So guys, I can't see any one of you. At least one or two people will be great. Manoj, can I see you? So constantly, anybody. So it will enthuse. So are you understanding that, that how my entire competencies will be different, and therefore my policies will be different when it comes to paying or when it comes to hiring, depending on my business strategy. Very clear, guys? Okay, just give me a thumbs up if that is clear. Now,
Yeah.
so then we talked about typically an organization, it has an architecture. What are those? If I were to ask somebody, so what are the types of competencies in your organization? We talked about 4 kinds of competencies.
Safety and
Core,
regulations.
core competencies, functional competencies, role-specific competencies, and leadership competencies, right? So then we did what? So when we talk about, so then we did that job, we did a competency mapping for one particular job. Two groups did activity, one for HR and one for security or safety. I'm not a little clear. So then we said, hey, how do we do a competency mapping? We start with job description. We looked at Own It Online. We can look at a benchmark job. It becomes easier. Then from job description, we then did an analysis, job element analysis, and said we can list out 6 or 7 job elements. Job elements are key elements for which you have to have certain knowledge and skills. So through job element analysis, we identified job elements. Then we identified the functional competencies, which are knowledge and skill. Okay, minimum and maximum. Right? Say for example, so then we also did behavioral indicators from Qualcomm. Right? What are the behaviors? Yes, no. Okay. And then when we said a behavioral indicator, it is very, very important. When you identify a behavioral indicator, it has to be observable, it has to be measurable, it has to be job relevant, right? It has to be specific. Why am I emphasizing? Why am I focusing on this specific, observable, measurable, and job relevant? Because, say for example, communication. Communication for a PR person will be different. Job relevance is different. But communication for an HR person is different. Communication for a finance person is different. Okay? Now, when I say again specific, observable, measurable, that is what you see. That if you don't see, if you can't observe, if you can't measure, then assumption. Right? Then it gives rise to what? Prejudice. It is subjective. Okay, guys? I will only give one indicator. I will say behavioral indicator. Has good communication skills. Does it pass the test? Specific, measurable, objective. Now look at this. Shares, updates clearly, and adjusts message based on the audience. It is specific, it is observable, it is measurable. I'll take one more. Is result oriented. Priyanka is result oriented. Can I measure that? Can I observe it? So tomorrow, during her performance appraisal, is result oriented. So as a boss, what do? I can be subjective, no? Another person can be subjective because based on her own experience of Priyanka. Another person will say, but if I have a very strong indicator, which can be observed, which can be measured, then what happens? It will reduce your subjectivity. Like, for example, sets clear goals and takes follow-up action to ensure results or to achievement. Okay? Again, Priyanka yesterday asked, or maybe I don't know who asked. Someone asked. He says, I can assess knowledge and skill. Knowledge, I can ask Priyanka, okay, fine, what is it? What is competency theory? Or I can say, give me the definition of assessment center. She will give me the know-how. Okay, can you do an assessment test? Yes, she has the skill. But how do we assess what is below the water? An iceberg below the water, those motives, those traits. Okay, so that is why indicators are very, very important. The behavioral indicators. All right. I'll just take one only here. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, for example, motivation. Okay. Is it below or above the water? If you are taking an iceberg, is it below or above?
Below.
Below, right?
No.
Submerged in the water, iceberg, submerged in the water. Means it is deep within. Priyanka is coming to office every day, but her motive of coming to office every day, I don't know. Is it just for a paycheck? Or is it she is really very passionate about learning and growth? Sorry, Priyanka, if I've taken you as a role model. Okay, don't mind her. So I don't know her motive because it's deep inside. Or is it that she's getting bored in the house, so she wants to come from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, spend time in the office? Huh? So I don't know her intent. What drives? Huh? So motivation. So I go out of my way to make my internal customers happy. That means my employees happy. But can you measure it? Are you getting it very clear? So, but if I know the real motive that, hey, she's here to make the L&D, she's so passionate about it. So her performance will be great. But if she's just going to spend time 9 to 5, then her performance may not be really great. Huh? So please, Ruchika, don't mind her. Don't evaluate her on that motivation. All right. Okay. So I'm just giving you on this, Vilma will send you all this, what you can see and what you can't see. So what I can't see is my trait, my motivation. So, and it is very, very important to know that. And that's why indicators are there, because that is going to make a huge impact on the performance. All right. A manager is sitting all the time in the chair and he's taking a walk on the shop floor. Manoj is going around. Then maybe he wants to supervise, see everybody. But another manager, because he's so tired that he wants to take a walk. Okay? The motive is different. The motivation is different. All right. So I just gave you that so that, integrity. How will I know a person if I say, Ruchita P is very high on integrity? I have to have an indicator. Keeps information confidential, does not disclose without permission, right? Can I observe it? Can I measure it? Can I, In fact, I recall a person in one of my HR, when I was a senior vice president for Sutherland, suddenly this guy actually, maybe by mistake, compensation data was out. People knew about it, was wondering how. So, for a compensation person, especially after an annual increment, what kind of increments are we given to people is very, very confidential, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Then you can imagine the chaos I had. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm just giving, we talked about this, right? Competency as an HR tool, how we did it. And we
Yeah.
talked about dictionary. Dictionary is just a compilation of all the competences, core, then what is it? Leadership competencies, then job specific competencies, then functional competencies. You write definition, you write the indicators, you write the proficiency levels, and you create this dictionary. All right. And as I said, you can't cut paste it. They have to be very, very organizational specific because it is very contextual. What holds good for your organization may not hold good for another organization. All right. So I said title, definition, indicator, proficiency levels. These are the 4 things. Can you see that? What are the elements or what are the components which form a part of the competency dictionary? Okay. So when I say teamwork, just to reiterate, you have to understand what is the definition of teamwork. Collaborates with others to achieve common goals. So what could be the indicators? Listens, shares, supports. These are the behavioral behaviors. Then how do you, so then you have to have levels of proficiency because for every level, for every role, it is different requirement. For a lowest level, it could be just about L2, but a highest level, it could be about L3, but it is also in the context of the role. So I want you to, understand that this is what I say, the anatomy, yeah, of a competency. Competency label, definition, indicator, proficiency levels. Okay. When you go back, you should have all 4 of them. It looks like this, when you have a dictionary. Then, yeah, just to give you that again. All right, guys. So this is what I have already shared with you, element analysis, everything. This is what we did yesterday. Done. I'm stopping this one. Now, what are we going to do today? And then you will actually. Any questions before we actually get into the new session, today's session? Any questions? Manoj, Kamlakaran? Anybody? Okay. So what we are actually going to do is something called assessment. Assessment, as you know, the word assessing, evaluating. So once we have competencies in place for every role, which form core competencies, role specific competencies, and then the leadership competencies, and the technical competencies, depending on that, then we need to assess them, evaluate them. So, as HR professionals, in your functions, where all can we assess? When we talk about where all do we get this opportunity to assess? You can look at starting from the employee life cycle or all
In the-
the functions. Start
in-
from
In the
hiring.
academics, in the
Start.
academics, in the hiring, in the
We'll start in a sequencing order. When the
okay.
employee comes in, hiring. When the
Hiring.
candidate comes in, can we use the competency framework for hiring?
Yes.
For every position, if we have a competency framework, like Manoj said, I want to, have the right kind of competencies in place for every position, so that when I am actually hiring a person and doing a interview, selecting him and hiring, interviewing, then I will actually then interview him based on the competency based method, so that I can, there is evidence and also I can predict his performance. Hiring. Next. Then every year we do what? Appraisal, performance appraisal. Okay. We will, as a part of the performance management system. Performance appraisal is a part of the performance management system. So, wherein we are actually setting goals for him at the beginning of the year. What is he supposed to do? What performance looks like? Give him a clarity, everything. Okay, give him resources, training, everything. At the end of the year, or maybe as we go along, but at the end of the year, definitely there is a stage in the performance cycle where we say appraisal. When we do that, we are assessing him. Against what do we assess? Do we say, Priyanka, you are an L&D manager, so you are supposed to be doing so many number of training programs. You are supposed to be doing type of programs. So it is more of numbers. Not only numbers, but I'm also going to look at how did you do them? So in performance management, operation guy or a safety guy, it is also looking at the output in terms of targets, and also how did you go about means, competencies. For example, a very easy classic example, there is a sales manager. Typically sales manager has a sales target. That means he has to achieve, say, to understand very clearly, 500 units. Under him there are about 10 sales people. Okay. Now, as a regional manager, head of the sales, I'm now doing a performance appraisal of the sales manager. He is supposed to do 500 units. He has achieved 450 units. Very good, no? Out of 500, he has achieved 450. But is that enough? I have to also go through, for a sales manager, the role is, the how part is planning, scheduling, team management. Did he develop, train his people? Because sales manager has 10 salespeople under him. Did he just do it himself and just take the help of 2 people? Or did he actually use the entire sales team and uh, did he plan it? Did he ensure that they did the work? A good sales manager will ensure that everybody is given their sales target, 10 salespeople, then they are able to do it. Because not many times, let me tell you, oh my God, you'll do too many mistakes. Let me do the work myself. The boss will say, I will do myself. The how part is very important. As an HR head, is it that I'll just take Kamalakan's good, this guy is good. I will take both the people, get all the work done. What about the others? Are you
No,
developing them? Are you training them? As a leader, you're supposed to train all of them. Your job is not to just ensure that you have finished the work. Manoj, you are saying something. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
as an appraisal, we will see what he is doing, that is KRA allocated to him, and how he is doing, what are leadership value he is demonstrated. So based
Exactly.
on
Because
that, I
in
will see.
excellent. Because in that potential also will say, hey, did he actually exhibit those leadership characters? Did he do planning and scheduling? Did he do strategize? Did he involve the members? The how part is very, very important. So therefore, it depending on the role in terms of your complexity, how to what level you are, mid level, top level. So the competencies keep changing. Okay, in that context, you need to evaluate and assess. All right. Now, having having said that, so when we are assessing, what do? We are assessing the competencies. Okay. All right. And we will understand. So there are two ways. So when you're using it for performance management, career planning, what is it, succession planning. So there are two kinds of assessment centers. One is only for hiring, selection. Okay. But the other is for developing. I want to grow my own talent in my garden. That's called development centers. Process may be the same, but in assessment, I'm not going to give the feedback to the candidate. I'll only give a result. Are you selected or rejected? I won't give much unless and until, very rarely. But in a development center, you are actually doing it for the purpose of identifying the gaps. Maybe for the present role, or you want to do promotion. So you want to see, hey, what kind of trainings I need to give. So you can. So the purpose is different, right? So we are going to look at assessment centers. And so in assessment centers, you are taking one level of positions. Okay. Typically, you look at, entry level where you, or maybe at a little higher level where you have one level of positions and you really want to use a very robust method and you use only one level of people, or it could be from different functions, but again, one level of people, because you're looking at one set of common competencies with the common, which are applicable to all the positions. Now, when you do a competency-based interviewing, there you are actually only looking at one position as such. Okay, only one position. So that's the difference. Now, having said that, let me give you a little, anybody is familiar, little history of this assessment centers before we actually go into anybody who knows? Well, these assessment centers are not something which are only current and today, they were actually used systematically even during the World War II. I know none of us were born during World War II, but at least we heard of World War II, right? What happened in World War. So there, they wanted to actually assess officers for complex leadership roles. So at that point of time, also they identified certain kind of behaviors which they said, hey, if these behaviors are there, then they will make very good senior army officers, senior leaders. And they used what we call it as a set of, not just interviewing, a set of exercises to hire good leaders. Then thereafter, I don't know if you heard of organizations like AT&T. In fact, AT&T was the first organization which actually adopted this assessment center to hire or to select and interview their leadership roles. So they used it in leadership selection. Then, of course, over the decades, there was a lot of research which consistently showed, because when you're using something, you also need to have evidence that if I use this, yes, I will actually get good results, right? So when they did a lot of research, it showed that observing behaviors across multiple exercises, okay, were far more reliable than just doing one interview. What is that critical thing in an assessment center? Why is an assessment center preferred to interviews? Anybody? Manoj, enough. Priyanka will say now, because I have put on a video, I know madam is only looking at me. Now, Manoj, tell me. So I made a statement. Research found, and it consistently showed that observing required behaviors across multiple exercises by assessors is far more reliable than just interviews alone. So what is it?
Can you come again? Actually, I have not understood the
In
question.
assessment center, I'm saying I am observing behavior across multiple exercises,
Mhm.
which is far more reliable than just asking or interviewing a person through just a 30-minute exercise of just questions. But interviewing. Did you get me?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Hmm?
Mhm.
I'm selecting you for a particular position. I've called Manoj and I'm interviewing you. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I've asked questions. Okay. But of course, that method also I'll tell you how it translates. So only through questioning method is not a very reliable method. It can't
Mhm.
predict that you will be the best. You can really do very well on the job.
Mhm.
Whereas if I use a lot more exercises, multiple exercises, are you
Mhm.
with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then the outcome, the selection is far more reliable. Did you get that point, what I said? Because
Yeah, yeah.
ultimately I want reliability. And reliability for what? Manoj or Kamalakan? Reliability for what? That when I hire, I want predictability, means that you should
Yeah.
be able to perform.
Demonstrate. Yeah,
No?
yeah.
That you should be able to perform. If I have hired Kamalakan for a competent role, I should be able to predict that yes, he will be able to perform at least 90%.
Right. Right.
I'm paying him competent salary, but if he's not able to do the job, then what will happen?
Right.
Where is my productivity? Huh?
Yeah.
I'm incurring more cost, pay month on month a paycheck, but there is no productivity. Ultimately, after 3 months, 6 months, I'll say, okay, fine. Oh my God, he's an underperformer. Then whose mistake is it? The recruiter or the hiring manager who was not able to hire the right person.
Right.
Got it?
Right. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why assessment gives us a good standard, a reliability, and a good standard in decision making of talent decision making. Okay, guys. It's very nice to have a visual picture. How does an assessment center take place? So all these people will be there. Okay. Supposing I'm doing an assessment center. So it can be for a day, 1 day, it can be for 2 days. So first of all, you will identify what are those competencies I have to assess. I'll tell you, but just showing a picture. Then these are those 12 candidates. If you see, I'll put a full blown picture. Okay. And then I will do, can you see? I will do multiple exercises. See, I've chosen group discussion, case study, role play. These are the multiple exercises. Then all these people will be assessed on that and they will be assessors. They could be internal, they could be external. So I will collect data which has come out from all these exercises and then I will discuss This is the discussion table. And then I will take a call. Got it? Here the process is happening. Then the data is being discussed for all the candidates and the report is given. Okay? So the same thing. All right. So in an assessment center, what am I doing? I just want to first of all give you this. I'm using a lot of exercises, multiple exercises. So let me familiarize you with a list of exercises. What kind of exercises or tests I do? In basket exercise. What is this exercise typically? Supposing there is a job where, it needs a lot of planning, time management, delegation, etc., competences, then what will I do? I will select an in-basket exercise. What does it mean typically? You will do this. You will take a list of things he has to do today. This is the time. And how is this person going to handle? Will he actually start from the top to down all the 20 things or 30 things? Or will he look at them and then prioritize on what is urgent and important, or what is not really urgent, you will do it later? Will he delegate it to somebody? How is he going to go about it? This is called in-basket exercise. It gives you a very good lot of data in terms of if a role has to do what planning, scheduling, prioritizing, time management, etc. One can use this. Okay. Role play exercise. I'm sure as HR people, most of us have heard of role play. Why do we use a role play? Especially where it is like, operations, especially where there is a customer there. It could be for an HR person also. Whether, you are showing customer service to your internal person, like especially HR business partner, because that person, he or she in that role interfaces with the business workforce. And how is this person? Because a lot of people, any HR business partner, the employees of that vertical will say, the HR doesn't do anything. I have a problem. They don't even bother about it. Only at a time of performance management, they will ensure that input is come. Or they are not at all helping me. They're always. So how are you? Customer service. So role play is a very good exercise where you can instruct the candidate. And what will you observe? You are not observing, has the person taken a decision? You are not looking at a solution from the role play exercise. You are going to process what data? What kind of questioning did he do? How did he uh, play with his emotions during a situation there was pressure? Like, for example, you know, mm, a customer complaint comes, call center executive. Say, I'm giving a call center executive. What kind of a life does the call center executive have? Lot of, if somebody is like my husband, then the poor call center executive had a tough time. If your internet, if your thing is down, what happens? You want immediate solution, right? How does the irritated customer will act, right? So if I'm selecting that the customer representative, how does he play with emotions? How does he ask for information? So, and then how does he resolve that? I'm looking at that processing. Does he get nervous or does he get angry? How does he make the person cool? So, there are certain key competencies required for this customer care executive. So, in role play, you can actually see how they come out. Okay, these are the things. Then, in fact, I will give a role play, interesting role play, where Manoj will play that, uh, especially for safety, because you all did that safety yesterday, right? There can be a customer who's saying, so we'll play that game. Interesting it is. Group discussion.
आमितच्या केसमध्ये
Group discussion. What kind of competencies can we assess in group discussion? I want you all to talk also, really. Huh?
Maybe listening skill and responding to someone's thought.
Okay.
How do you put
The team
across your
sorry.
thoughts?
Yeah. Have you seen when I'm actually selecting, a lot of times I go to this, I am
Mainly
to
participating.
be a part of the group discussion for students to be selected. You know what happens? They think shouting out loudly, trying to shut up the other person is actually a good thing because they think that that is the yardstick, right? Then you will suddenly see one candidate quiet. Then I say, okay, I would like to sum up, and this is what the group said, and this is the summary, and this is the outcome. So somebody will really sum up
Yeah.
in unstructured group discussions. Okay. So in group discussions, typically what will come out? Problem solving. How is the person? Is he trying to shut them up? Is there teamwork? Are you actually seeking information from all the other members? You can see a lot of teamwork. Some people don't want to listen to anybody. No view. Only my view is the right view. Right? My way or the highway kinds, huh? Communication skills, how are you putting it up, leadership things. So a lot of things can come up. So, but any typical exercise, you actually assess one or two things. Case study, is it a good thing? Case study, what kind of competencies can you
In
assess?
case study, normally you can say troubleshooting type competency they are demonstrating.
Yes.
They are going through their and they will put their thoughts on the
Yeah,
that.
especially for people who
Maybe
are in the R&D, who
Yeah,
are
already.
especially in the operational guys,
Yes, yes.
production guys. So it is, again, I told you role specific. So where you really need analytical skills, problem solving skills, case study will be a very good kind of an exercise. Presentation skills, right? Understanding, comprehending, how do you present? So all these things can be uh, assessed. Presentation also can be a part of the case study. Analysis exercises. Whom will you give analysis exercises in the HR?
Data analyst, HR data
Huh?
analyst, HR
Huh?
data analyst.
Who is good in numbers?
No, but okay, you don't have an HR analyst. But which are the other roles can you give?
maybe payroll.
Payroll.
Payroll,
And
compensation
then
guy. No, how does he look at data? How will he analyze data? Like, for example, for my compensation person, will he look at the month on month entire payroll data, that is total employee cost, and will he look at is this person at a differentiating level? Who will also look at what I should say vis-a-vis the other operational expenses. Wage cost is a part of the operational expense, right? What is my percentage of wage cost to the operational expense, or what is the employee cost to the revenue? So he could look at certain kind of a metrics. Are you with me? Because higher wage cost means it impacts your profitability. So from where is he coming? If you have a analyst, of course it's a different thing. Then you can start looking at. I can also give it to an L&D person. Is this person looking at costs in L&D or only incurring costs? Does this show ROI? So
ROI.
a number of
We can do
like for
ROI for each training.
the budgets, within the budgets, but is there a correlation between if I increase the number of training hours, is it impacting performance? Is it impacting the level of competencies? Right? Huh? Or if I'm sending them to really very premium leadership training programs, are they actually training up or guiding or mentoring team members, wherein they have suddenly showed increase in performance, or they have suddenly reduced attrition levels? I can look at all that data. Can't we? Can't we correlate, right? With has a good leader. Huh? Good leader, typically what happens? Huh? You can check hard data by seeing how many people are attriting from his vertical. Because in organizations, people leave not because of organizations, because they typically leave because of their leaders. So if there is a leader who is really warm, coaches, mentors, etc., then people will get that trust. Then they will actually, be there because, hey, I'm learning a lot. I'm actually growing in my career. Okay. Technical, I don't have to say, needless to say, technical, of course. What are the technical competencies required for every post, every job? Say for a payroll, I will look at it. For a comp and pen, I will look at it. So I can give technical test. I can also give situations, right? Situations which are more aligned to situation. I can also give a situation in the sense, typically what happens sometimes, especially again, customer, people who are interfacing with customer, HRPP person also. So how does the person solve, or how does the person take care of his or her own emotions? EQ. Do you get worried? Do you get become aggressive, or do you become passive? How do you respond when there is pressure? Only situation will tell me. Suddenly there's a fire in the port somewhere. What will you do? So such things happen in your role. Then so I need to assess them. Simulation, of course. So for technical skills, we typically give simulations. Okay, customer interactions again. Managerial exercises. So these are all negotiation, writing, behavior. So we will do in detail behavioral event interviews. All right. Now, again, I want to emphasize competency is only a label. Behavior cannot be. Behavior needs what? Specific, observable, measurable. So, what is behavior? Behavior is not feeling. I feel Ruchita P is a very positive person. No feelings, no opinions, no. What is inference? Means conclusions without data. Oh, I think it is like this. So there is no scope for thinking. Okay? No generalizations. All right? So these are all not behaviors. These are all not behaviors. Like, for example, if I were to say teamwork, so these are all behaviors: actively participating, communicating, resolving, etc., etc. Now, let me come to how do we do, what is the process of assessment center? So, again, as I said, what is the flow chart? Start with job analysis, competencies, you have already done. Then I will decide on a
Assessment matrix.
assessment matrix.
Hmm.
These two I'm not touching, I've already done it. Now, what is assessment matrix? That means I will show you the visual. Designing, what are the exercises I have to design to assess them? Okay. And then collect data. So this will look like this. This is an assessment matrix. Now I'm going to give you an activity now. And I know I also will give you a small break. Yesterday I didn't give you. After this, at 11:50 we'll take a break. So assessment matrix, what is it? If you can see, there are two dimensions to it. One is, dimension is actually a competency. What are the list of competencies? Anybody, please, can you read them so that I can wake you all up? What are the competencies? Say, for example, I'm testing these competencies for yesterday we did an HR job. Please read these competencies. Anybody?
So
Ruchita P.
okay.
Yeah, I'm giving her the option.
Yeah.
Problem analysis. First, problem analysis. Second, decision
No.
making.
Just list out the competencies we are testing for a particular role or a particular target of people. I'm wanting to select assistant manager HR, and I'm calling a lot of candidates. So, what are the required competencies?
Empathy.
No, here it is. Yeah, decision making. Read it out.
I did not understand. Can you clarify?
So I'm
That's for
okay.
the role of HR, right?
Say, for example, these are the list of competencies I'm assessing for a particular role. Here, for example, assistant manager HR, problem solving, problem analysis, decision making, leadership, empathy, administrative skills, delegation, planning and organizing, a stress tolerance because that job has a lot of stress, teamwork, oral communication, written communication. This is only a list, a sample I'm giving. You may are going to assess will depend on for which role are you doing assessment.
Hi, your voice is breaking.
Now. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
fine. Yeah, it's
Now,
fine.
can you hear me? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
yes.
This is only a sample. When you do, it will depend on what? For what role are you
Yes.
wanting to build an assessment center? So you will then specify those list of competencies specific to that role. Got it? Specific to that role. This is only a sample. Now, having said that this is a sample, I said I also give you a list of exercises. So when you're doing a matrix, you have to ensure that every competency is being assessed at least by 2 exercises, multiple exercises, so that you can get more data. For example, I said here problem analysis. I can do a case analysis. I can do a leaderless group discussion. I can also do an interview simulation. I can do an in-basket. So these are the various exercises through which I can collect data for problem analysis. Got it?
Got
Now
it.
look at, yeah, somebody said something, but who is it? Now say, sorry. Like for example, oral communication. Please give me what are those exercises from which I can assess or get data? Quick.
Presentation, team discussions.
Yes, good. Oral presentation, yeah. Leadership group discussion. Even in an interview, the way he is speaking, no? Then I can also do group task, right?
Hmm.
Likewise, again, planning and organizing.
Hmm.
Which one? Case study,
Yeah.
oral fact finding, right?
Basket.
Yeah. So now you get a matrix. What does it mean? That means you have a list of competencies and you have to identify at least 2 or 3 where you are going to assess him, because just having one exercise which is not very cost effective, because this is a very expensive, because you will have to have 2 3 assessors, so at least it should assess in one competency should be assessed at least by 2 exercises, or if not 3. Now Vilma, are you there?
Yes, tell me.
Yeah. Now so I'm going to give them an activity, which is just a simple 10 minutes activity. They are going to decide on assessment metrics. You have to make them into 2 groups. The same groups for which they did yesterday the job.
Sure.
Huh? Okay. Now here is the activity. Priyanka's group, I recall, and Manoj was in a different group. I think so. So one did safety and one did HR. Now you have identified.
We
Hmm?
were in
You,
same group.
oh, you're in the same group. So there were 2 groups. So there are
Yes.
2 jobs. One was a technical or operational job, and one was an HR job.
Yeah.
Now I give you choice of actually identifying 5 competencies. Okay. You need not do, so you can take a combination from the core and also from the, what is it, role specific competencies, job competencies, um, 5 competencies or maybe 6 competencies, and list out. I will put this. You already have, you can have it. List out from here, or even whatever you think. See, this I will ask Vilma to just take a picture. List out what are those exercises you can use to assess. Only that. This is what you have to make. A matrix. A matrix. What is a matrix? These are the list of competences, and this is where I'm actually assessing them in this and in this. Okay. So this gives you a good understanding, saying that, hey, which test or exercise will assess which competency, and this will require not more than 10 to 15 minutes. Are you comfortable?
Yeah, we need to pick a different, job or role, or yesterday we have picked that to be continued.
I will give you, here it is, comfort level. If you have any job already where you have 5 competencies, you can choose that also. Okay. And HR is simple. They have already done it. That's why I'm giving that. Because I always feel that learning begins not from a complex to low, from where then you keep learning. So if you are comfortable with any ready-made, I know Manoj must be having some position, ready-made competencies of 5 or 6, you can use that also.
Yeah.
Got it? I
Seeking
gave you a choice. Yeah.
yeah, so clarity, like we had 2 groups yesterday, same group, same JD we can have, and we can pick the competency and do this dimension observable
Yes,
method.
yes, that would
Right.
be preferred because then you can align, from
Yeah,
your.
that works. So you'll be putting us in respective breakout rooms?
Yeah, Priyanka,
See, one conclusion. The idea is that you are wanting to assess and get all the data about this person with reference to competencies, because these are the competencies which will give you evidence to predict performance. Got it?
Hmm.
There is a linkage, you are wanting to check whether the absence or the presence of competency in this person you're going to assess all those people who are coming for that position. So now you are creating certain exercises, not just interview. You can also have a BEI, we will discuss on that. So list of exercises which will assess these competencies. Every competency should be assessed by at least 2 exercises. Got it? Very so you can choose whichever group wants to show first and present the
Yeah.
matrix.
So our group yesterday's like a tied up conversation, like we taken the HSS safety. So for that we done the assessment as well as for the competency as well as dimension we picked. So based on that, so asset identification as well as risk assessment, the competency we considered, and based on that the dimension.
This is
So
very
written.
interesting. Decision making under pressure. Very, very critical for this guy who's our, I mean, the person who will be assessed. Very important. Yeah, good.
So based on that, we taken a few competency around 10 as well as the dimension what we are what we are
Safety,
given.
empathy, administrative and
Administrative and documentation
documentation.
skill,
Very good.
delegation, task
Delegation,
management,
task,
planning and
planning and
organization,
organizing,
stress tolerance,
stress
crisis
tolerance,
handling,
teamwork.
teamwork,
Great. Good.
collaboration, oral communication, clarity.
Okay. Okay. In oral communication, clarity itself will become one of the indicators, ma.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. I mean, by and large, that will become one of the behaviors also, no? Okay. Now, hazard identification. Written case analysis. Okay. Identification. Okay. Group discussion. Acha. How will you assess? Just help me to understand, ma, Kamalakan.
Yeah.
You wrote leaderless group discussion. Of course, you and the group, I mean, that you will assess hazard and risk assessment. Can you just help me understand?
So the safety part over leading
Mm,
safety thing, there should not be any leader to spark the activity. That's the reason we coined out as a leaderless group discussion.
mm, mm,
So
mm,
if any incident arises, the everyone
mm.
should be in a leader as in a team. So they should lead as well as take their responsibility and act
Okay.
accordingly.
Okay. So you'll, okay. Okay. So the input will balance. Good. Okay. Okay. Interview simulation also you'll do.
In basket.
In basket, hazard identification and in basket. In basket, how, ma? Tell. In
So
basket is a list of activities. First of all, let me tell you. In basket
okay.
means like you come to office, in your mail, there'll be
Yeah.
so many mails, in your
Mm.
inbox.
Okay.
Huh? And how will you finish that? What is it? Whatever you have in your inbox
Hmm.
today, you will say
Okay.
some, you will say, okay, these are not important, we'll do it tomorrow. Some you will say, you will delegate it to your lower level person. So how will you do that? That is called in basket. So do you think hazard identification and risk assessment can be done through inbox? I mean, inbox or in basket? Not much.
Maybe
Okay? Not
not.
much. So you
Okay,
can delete it. Huh? Okay,
sure.
maybe fact finding you can do some amount. Assigned a task group also, I will say, okay, how will you assess and all? Okay. Game, maybe not necessary. So don't have more than three. I'll tell you why. The risk
Okay,
is if you have too many means you have to collect data, no, so much of data. So three,
okay,
max three will be also good enough. All right. Okay.
sure.
Good. So let me see decision maker under pressure, written, oral, leaderless. Decision making under pressure. Interview simulation may not be when you have the other methods which are far better. Again, I may have four methods, five methods. So I will choose which is more, which is a very effective method where a lot of data can come. Okay. So
Okay,
when I have a very practical, like a case and all that, then I will maybe avoid interview for decision making. Are you with me? Huh?
okay, okay.
Okay. Safety, empathy, delegation, planning and organizing, stress tolerance, oral communication. Okay, guys. Good job done. At least you all have listed out all the competencies and some of the exercises which you have check marked are good enough for assessing these competencies. Good work. Any challenge you had while doing this work?
No, no, no. We taken a support in AI
Very
as well,
good.
and
Very good.
we
Okay.
collaboratively discussed. So,
Good.
just I want to understand the similar practice following in some of the OEM or other companies. So, how effectively it will be do in the LMS portal or any automation factor? I
Mm.
think you have well experience in various domain.
Mm.
So we you have prominently you have done in a multiple industry. So is there any like automation factor we can implement for
Can you
to do this?
come clearly, Kamlakan? Very interesting. Tell me. Just
For
uh,
Yeah,
you have
to
to repeat
implement
it. I
this.
lost you somewhere. Huh? Tell me.
Okay, to implement this assessment center, assessment
Yes.
part,
Uh,
a few organization like the OEMs like a Caterpillar or some
uh,
companies,
uh.
they are aligned this. So if
They
we
are
want
actually
to take,
using it. Yes, they are using
yes,
it.
yes,
Mm.
yeah. So like either the LMS portal, any automation is there, or is there a manual thing they are doing?
I got your question. First of all, yes, Caterpillar is doing. Most of the organizations are doing. Okay. Now, earlier on, this is for everybody. Earlier means 2 decades ago, ever since the competency thing became uh, the currency, every organization used to do competency mapping and they used to do assessment center. It was very expensive. They used to use consultants. Okay. Even now they will use consultants and the consultants will have to travel. Assessors means people who are trained in observing data, right, documenting data. So they will have. But today, responding to your question, these organizations are doing it because you can actually, not through LMS, you can actually, because LMS will be open portal, no? They are doing it digitized, where you are sitting in Timbuktu, you are sitting in Sikkim, and I can actually do assessment center sitting from here because they are using web, they are using portals.
Okay,
Online, you can do assessment centers. All
okay,
that you have to do is this is like that, no? Psychometric test, wherever you are, you can sit and do.
yeah.
I will give you an access to it. And so I like that only I will set up a lot of assessment center exercises and you can sit at your desk and do them. And I'll take the
Okay, okay,
data.
okay.
Yeah, just one more add-on input.
Yeah, yeah.
In such scenarios, like my observation and what we have also done it, right? Like when people are scattered across, and I have to take multiple tests across the locations into through the various individuals. What we do, we send them those tests with a timeout. So time is set. So if I have
Okay.
given an in-basket exercise 10 minutes, so I'll set a time. Once it is done, it will log out. Correct?
Hmm. Yeah.
No. So, adding to Vilma, when I said you will do online, all that is incorporated. The time constraint, everything.
Hmm.
So, when I said online assessment center does not mean that it takes all the time. So,
Right.
everything is monitored there.
Hmm.
And if it is a time bound test, it will be a time bound test.
Correct.
Yeah.
Even
And that is the convenience of digitization today, that people sitting anywhere can, like, for example, you are recruiting software developers doing all those technical tests, architecture. If you're hiring an architect and all, you're not calling him physically to a place. Today, everybody is using technology remotely to assess people.
Similarly, the group discussions can be done online through breakout rooms, through
Then
online.
this, like,
Yeah.
for example, you said group discussion, it won't be that online writing. Like, I will give that time, all of you will be there, everybody will join from different locations, like we are doing now virtually, and then do the discussion. And I, as a coordinator, I'll be observing assessor, I'll be observing, I can take the data.
But
Time bound.
to have a assessment center in person and online, so it is better to have person, no? Because people
Very costly.
yeah.
Very costly affair.
Very expensive. You have to travel, then
No,
hotels.
but
So very expensive.
when you are doing assessment and you are taking decision based on that, so it is better to have in person, no?
But
Or
let
at
me
least
tell
leadership
you,
role.
but if you are doing it for just one role, which is very at a very top management, and you have to do, then of course you are not doing online. Then you are calling him personally. It also depends at what level, no, Manoj.
Yeah. Understood.
Because there is a cost to it. So whether it has an impact. So a top level job, a CFO, a CXO, so those kind of jobs which have huge impact on business results. So obviously, I won't depend on online. I will call him in person, because any day, Manoj, interviewing and looking at a person in person is different from online. No.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Can I have the other group? But good job done. Yeah.
So we have picked up the competencies from the AM HR role, which we did yesterday. And for operation excellence, uh, we ensure that we can do in-basket exercise and we can have interviews. Like,
Can I question?
yeah.
Operational excellence, what exactly in basket, what will you assess?
So, Manoj, would you like to
Yeah.
reply to this?
How in operational excellence he has to do the planning and how he is going to take a decision whether
Okay. So,
to get that you can say task complete.
okay. But Manoj, let me also, for this group, let me emphasize, in basket, mainly this exercise focuses on, as I said, planning,
Planning and
scheduling,
organizing.
problem solving, okay, time management in terms of urgency. If you are a manager, will you delegate or will you do everything yourself?
Mm.
Prioritizing. So these are some of the things. Okay,
Mm.
got it. So
Yeah.
probably may not reflect so much of operational excellence. Got it.
So what is your suggestion in terms of operation excellence?
So exactly, operational excellence is a little broader. So you'll have to again do sub competencies in terms of what exactly are you looking at.
Mm.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
So actually, operational
You can
excellence.
have process excellence.
Okay.
Okay, Manoj, we use simulator, right? To
Yeah.
You
help
can use a
people judge.
stimulator. Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So simulation is actually your role plays creation of a simulation. In basket exercise will be too broad actually.
Okay.
Role play still can figure out. You can make the person sit on the simulator, can just figure out, can create a process or something to figure out, but I don't know how through interviews we can find out operational excellence. Not be possible.
No. In interview, we are asking the question pertaining to that particular topic and what knowledge that person is carried. By that,
I'll tell you. Yeah,
yeah.
Manoj is rightly there. In interview, I have to help you with that method of interview
Yeah.
where we are going to come with CBI. It is called
Situational based
behavioral
questions.
event interviewing, where you look at a STAR approach, which is called a situation,
Okay.
task, action.
Yeah.
So,
It
when
was
you ask
quick.
critical incidents, critical situations, 2, 3, high or low, then you would get the thought process, you will get the data in terms of his
इसका
operational
demonstration नहीं देख
excellence.
सकेंगे.
And
ठीक
by
है?
that, we can get his perspective also.
No,
How he is
it's
looking at
operational.
that situation.
बिल्कुल. ठीक है, that I will accept. But not in basket. Okay?
Okay.
Done? And as I think Priyanka or somebody said, role play, simulation, absolutely. Okay. I give it to you. Yeah. Priyanka, carry on.
Yeah. Then collaboration and teamwork.
Okay, let me
We
see.
can
Role play, yes, it can be done. Teamwork का कैसा है? Group discussion. Psychometric. Okay, I give it to you. Yeah. Integrity, psychometrics, okay.
sorry.
Custom-
Yeah.
Customer centricity, yes, role play. Adaptability, again, role play, written exercise, communication, planning in basket, presentation, yeah. Presentation में planning.
So, okay, I'll tell you what we thought. So,
Yeah, thought process. I want to understand. Help me to understand the thought process. Yeah.
So, planning is, say, for example, you give an individual a product, and then you ask him to make a presentation of how he is going to put it across to customers. So, what are his thought process of making the presentation or
More like
putting it across?
prioritizing. When you said planning, मैंने कैसा he
No,
was
no,
going to present
no.
it.
What we thought na, कि he will
Hmm.
decide what I have to present actually, and
Hmm.
based on that he will do the backend planning. What point I have to add.
But let me tell you, what I have to present and all may not really look at planning competency. Got it? So when I again get into planning ka kya behavioral indicators, so you will see that it will not actually assess those things. Because when in presentation you are looking at what? Definitely some part of written communication, definitely in terms of oral communication, clarity, etc. So planning का ज्यादा नहीं आएगा.
ठीक है, okay.
Planning के लिए
Okay.
what would be the second best fit apart from in-basket exercise?
Case study, excellent.
Case study. Okay. ठीक है.
Okay, or task, situational task
Okay.
with an outcome, है ना?
Yeah.
The point I was wanting to make here is, once again, I want to repeat it. What are we doing assessing? So what do I need to know? I need to know for which job am I doing? Then I need to know after I do the job, have I done the competencies? Because you can't do an assessment center without the competencies, right? So when I'm saying you all did the matrix for a particular job, you all did all these competencies. Now, how will you test empathy? Or how will you test oral communication? Or how will you test written communication? So therefore, what is very, very important now? Written communication is only a label. Now you said written communication I will do through, say, for example, presentation, say, huh? So what are you going to observe? And then what will you document and what will you measure? So it will be the what? Behavior. So that means written communication or whether it is oral communication. So whatever competencies I have written here to be assessed, they need to have behavioral indicators in terms of proficiency levels, right? Which you all did yesterday. Got it? Which you all did yesterday. You wrote down everything. You wrote down the proficiency levels for both the behavioral competencies and also for technical competencies. Typically in assessment center, I'm not, people don't take technical because that you are separately doing a technical competency assessment. Okay. So behavior is the one which needs more other kind of exercises because they're deeper, the motive, the trait, etc. For a technical competency, say for example, for this Kamlakan, I have to test a payroll, whether he is able to payroll guy, whether he is able to work on a spreadsheet or a payroll new software. What will I do, Manoj or Kamlakan? What will I do if I want to assess a person's technical competency? I'm going to hire a competent person, and I have a payroll software, and this guy has to work on payroll software, so I have to assess his technical competency. What will I do?
Yeah,
Everybody.
ideally
Huh?
we'll have some trial run in Excel or what the software we are using. The similar way we'll be testing.
I'll first of all ask him what are the various softwares you have knowledge of,
Yes.
you have worked on, and then I will say I won't be happy. He might say yes, yes, but I will say okay, fine. Now having a not now, please work on this small spreadsheet.
Yeah,
So I will
correct.
give a technical skill test. No,
Yes, yes.
like for example, if I'm hiring a trainer, L&D person. So trainer, she has to do some training programs. I will ask her what kind of training programs have you done, how will you do content development, how will you do. Then I will say, okay, fine. 15 minutes, this is the topic, this is the target group. Please go and deliver training program. Because I won't ask questions because skill is something, the ability. So I will do on the job. I'll ask her to deliver a small training program. So I can assess. By that, I will know, yes, I can take feedback even from the target group saying that how did you feel about it? Was she okay? Was she able to deliver? Was she able to communicate? Was she able to help you to understand complex ideas? All those things I'll get a feedback, right? Behavior, I need much deeper test. That's why I'm using. Now, when I said the point, what I said, I must have behavioral indicators, very important to assess them, not just the names. So now you see here. For every, where is it? Yeah. So for every test, for every assess, what is it, competency, I definitely need to have a behavioral what indicators. Only then I will be able to take notes. Now, having done that, how will I take notes? Assessor means that person who will do the documenting what he observes, because measuring comes later. First of all, I will just be like a video camera. I'll be only documenting while that person does. For example, though it is little hazy, there is an oral, this is only a sample. There is only I'm testing for oral communication. I'm assessing oral communication. What is the definition for oral communication? Effective expression of this individual in individual and group situations, depending on the context. Now, so what am I saying? I'm writing. This guy greeted with a smile. Then pleased to work with you, he said. Then he spoke firmly yet quietly, fumbled for right words to state objective, then gave clear description in the beginning. Then after that, he did this. This oral communication is a competency which I am actually assessing for, say, a trainer. Yeah, a trainer. Then while training, gave clear brief description, then made small jobs about exchanges in the briefings, gave this. From where am I writing all these statements? Can somebody tell me? All these stated that these were strengths and weaknesses in John's training. From where am I writing this?
We are observing and then we are writing, no?
You are right. Absolutely, Manoj. Manoj, you are absolutely right. You are observing as an assessor and taking notes of whatever that person is saying or doing, or even if that person is keeping his hand like this, even the body language you are documenting. Okay. Now, at the same time, you can also put a plus and a minus, plus and a minus. What does that mean?
Plus is positive point, minus is
Huh?
negative.
Negative, positive. You know exactly that these are all the positive things he's doing. These are all against the performance, negative things. Got it?
Yeah.
So then, when you are actually then selecting a person or the, don't you think it is evidence-based? You are taking with a very strong data-based decision rather than whether I like, what is it, Kamlakan, or whether I don't like Kamlakan, or whether he is from my college or whether he is from my village. All those bases are gone. You are having strong data here. Based on this, which then you will again look at your own proficiency levels and say, hey, this guy is here. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
See? See?
Yep.
Huh? Oh, this is so this is how then I can do an overall score here. Are you seeing my cursor here, which I wrote 4?
Yes.
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 So, one second.
What is that for?
Average.
The score.
Out of 5.
This is your score.
Score.
That means a rating scale. If you have only 1, 2, 3, or if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, like for example, I think in your cap you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
Okay.
Then you will give a score. The score is meaningless without qualitative data. You know that, no?
Hmm.
If I just say 1, it is meaningless. If I say 4, it is meaningless. It must have a behavior or it must have a qualitative statement. For example, in a performance rating scale, 1 will be maybe poor. You start with poor, no? And 5 will be absolutely exceeding or outstanding. So when there is a qualitative statement attached to this score, then it will have meaning. But simply by number, it won't have. So this is the score which you typically give when you are when you are doing your assessment center, saying 1 to 5, just like the cap.
Hmm.
Okay, clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Helps you to understand?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I also told you that what is the difference between an assessment center and a development center.
Hmm.
Assessment center, the purpose is typically to select, to take a decision. Okay? You are getting a lot of resumes. You are, what is it, interviewing qualified candidates for a particular role. And the purpose is only to do a selection using multiple exercises. So here, typically, you don't give a feedback, right? Written feedback or even oral. But in a developmental center, it is typically used for people who have to be promoted internally to identify gaps. There you are using multiple exercises along with something we also will talk about called a 360 degrees feedback. Have you heard?
Yes.
360 degrees feedback. That means I can take feedback from my reporting officer. I can take feedback from my peers who are constantly, my team, my stakeholders. I can also take a feedback sometimes from even an external customer for the purpose of, like for example, especially if there is a role which interfaces a lot with external customer, it's very important to take feedback from customer, right?
Hmm.
Which most of them interfacing, like salespeople, you definitely get a feedback from the customer. So in developmental center, the purpose is different. What is the purpose? For training, for growth, for promotion. So it supports the developmental activities. Okay, very clear? Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we'll get to this. Now, in the flow of the assessment center, after constructing this matrix, after going through the entire process, you will collect data. So there won't be just one assessor. There will be typically 2 or 3 assessors who are constantly observing and assessing the competencies through the behavioral indicators given. Okay. Now you can have assessor A, B, C, D, C. Then what will you do? All these three assessors are now assessing on these leadership decision making so much. So they have given this scores. A has given, B has given, C. So typically, what will you do? Will you take a weighted average or an average score? I want to see how people will respond. What will be the final score? Say, for example, in leadership, for a particular candidate, you have given 4, 4, 4. So here it is easy. Huh? Obviously 4. But let me see another one. Somebody has given 2, 2, and 3. So how will you go about doing the final rating?
You have to take average score then. Or
Will you take average? Will you take average?
otherwise,
Huh?
three assessors
No.
are rated 2.
Here it is not like compensation, mean, median, mode. No, I won't take average because this is a person. So I will check with, see, where is the data? Show me the data on which you have said this is 3.
Mm.
And then all of us will again discuss, come to a consensus, and then give a rating. Are you getting me? Consensus. Consensus is different from average. Will you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh?
So just I want to ask whether we can give 2.5 or 3 only.
No. So you can typically, it depends if your rating scale is 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. But typically you will avoid doing 0.5s. But
Okay.
but having said that, you can give 2.5s if you are dividing, because there are a lot more sub behaviors you want to. So it is all in the way you construct your design. Manoj, are you with me?
Yeah.
I can have only a rating scale of 1 to 3. You'll easily understand this because, say, for example, on a shop floor, a blue collar worker, to appraise or evaluate his performance, I will only use 1 to 3. Why? Because the intensity of work is not very complex, very broad. So 1, 2, 3. But for somebody, maybe I'll need to have much more, maybe 1 to 5, because I need a lot more. What is it? I have to break it into a lot more divisions. So it all depends on the span. It all depends on the span. At a shop floor lower level, it's very broad, but as you keep going higher and higher, you can have 0.5 sometimes. Okay. But for all working purposes, it's always better to have rounded numbers. Okay. Especially assessment, performance rating. Have you ever seen a performance rating scale with 1, 1.5? No. It'll either be 3, it'll either be 5.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is what is this I'm trying to tell you, that once you assess people, you don't do an weighted average, but if there are some differences, you will actually again go back to your whatever data you have collected, and you will take a consensus. Okay. Now, like for example, this one, never, frequently, sometimes, frequent. So this is a scale, gives you a good understanding. So the person assessor who is documenting, how many times did he come and speak? Did he do sometimes only, or did he do always? Then you'll give 5. Did he do never? Then you'll give 1. Got it?
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. Now, so this is your rating scale: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Typically, higher, uh, you can also have 1 for outstanding, but your mind understands better. Higher the scale, so 5 is outstanding, 4 is good, 3 is acceptable, 2 is marginal, 1 is poor. So when the assessor, he or she has to know, when I'm giving a 1, what is it? What does it mean? So I have to also give a what is outstanding. So description also has to be given. Got it? Along
Yes.
with the description, you have, when that person is documenting. Why all this we have to do? Because We don't want to be judgmental. We want credibility in our hiring, performance evaluation, etc. So more the evidence, more the data, it will be more objective. Lesser the evidence, lesser the data, it will be more towards the subject. Got it? Simple? Okay, and also predictable. Okay, now comes the very interesting thing. Assessor. Who's an assessor? First of all, you have to know in assessment center you'll have assessor and SSC. Who's an assessor?
Who is observing?
Yes, observing. SSC,
The participant on whom the
participant or the
experiment.
candidate and
Yes.
all. So there are certain fundamental rules and he's trained in that, how to observe and how to document. So we have something called ORS. What is it?
ORS. ORC.
ORCE, ORS. Now, what is ORS? Means O is for observation. You have to closely observe. R is for recording. When you record, you don't have to record only verbal. Even the non-verbal has to be recorded. Like in group discussion, what are some things you can record in non-verbal? You have a group discussion. Okay, interesting. Leaderless group discussion. So what will you record? You have all the participants list and you are recording data. What are some of the non-verbal cues you will record?
Body language.
And gesture. Yeah.
Very good. Supposing
Energy
I
level.
bend, supposing
Yeah.
I'm bending, I'm coming forward, or supposing I'm just laid back. Does it indicate something? You don't have to do inference, but at least you can record that. Supposing raising voice. Huh? So body language, gestures, you can also be recorded. Also, and I have to. So the assessor will first only do observation and recording like a video camera. Then all the assessors will get back. Then they will classify. What does it mean, classify? That means you are analyzing all that what you have observed and recorded as per the rating is given. And you will put 1, 2. First you will do plus and minus and then you will do this. Okay? You will evaluate. And then this is the matrix. Okay? This is what you will do. For every candidate, you will do this. Okay, this I'll do. Have you seen this sheet? This is called the, for every candidate, you will get a sheet like this. I want somebody to just so that I know I'm on the same page. Anybody who wants to take the initiative? This is the assessment rating sheet. I mean, after the assessment is over. Say, for example, this is for Lalita, assessment sheet for Lalita for HR. HR port. Can anybody tell me? Kannan, Kamala Kannan, sorry, Kannan. Tell me.
Yeah.
Mm.
So communication is less influencing.
Communicating and influencing, we did 2 exercises, group exercise and analyzing and a presentation also. And he got a
Yes.
5 there and he got a 4 there. No?
Yeah.
But of course, assessors did a consensus and then overall is 4.
Overall 4.
Team working again,
Team
you're right.
working.
So
Yeah.
3, 4, 4 he got. And then overall he
Mm.
got 4.
4.
Overall is not weightage or average, but consensus. So very good. Building 3. So there is
Relationship.
an individual rating what he got for that. And there is a overall rating. Got it?
Yeah.
Individual is also there and overall is also there.
Oh,
So this is how we arrive at this, not just like saying, okay, you get 2, you get 1, you get 3. No. How do we do it? Collect data through observation and recording. Then we classify the data and then we evaluate the data. We are not doing just like that, no. That becomes very subjective. No? How can anybody repeat? How did we get this overall rating? Anybody take an initiative? What did we do as an assessor?
Observe.
Observe, evaluate,
Record.
Or
record.
Record,
observe, record.
classify,
During the assessment, observe, record. Don't open your mouth, don't give suggestions, don't no recommendations.
Hmm.
Write everything because you'll have an observer sheet. Okay? And then you'll classify and you will
classify.
evaluate. And
Very
observer sheet is here. See? This is your observer sheet. Have you seen observer sheet?
yes,
Quickly, you will
yes.
have all that. So you will have an observer sheet where you will write everything amply. But tell me, why do you think assessment centers are very, very good? Because they have high predictive validity. What does it mean by predictive validity? They have ability to predict reliability. So can you see interview? What is the validity for interview? Have you seen? A normal personal interview is only 0.4. And if you just look at a resume and interview is only 0.3. And if you do a structured interview, BI, okay, little more. But if you see that assessment center has a higher predicted 0.63, that means you are able to predict far better whether that person can perform or not. Okay? All right. Time for one small activity because
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Hey, can you just take them through the moon one just to give a little? Okay, here is it, guys. Typically, why do you use this game? A to test A. How do you collaborate as a group? Okay, collaboration, consensus. All right, prioritization, and so typically when you say ranking itself, you are saying prior. Now, what is the background of this exercise? Saying that hey, we were going suddenly in a spaceship and we got cut off. Now we are thrown out somewhere, but there will be some help coming to take us back to that place. But till then, we have to survive. Now, to survive, we have only these 15 items or 16 items. Okay. So, therefore, and I can't take all the 15 items because when we go there, we have to be lighter also. So, on priority, which are those items I need to take? So, you need to rank them, which will be your priority. So, when you obviously say rank them, okay, you can either do descending or ascending order. Okay. But typically, number one will be of a higher priority here. 1, 2, 3. So if I say if I've ranked something like 12 or 13, that will be the least priority. Okay. So in this game, you will be given just 10 minutes. Read the little background. It will be interesting. And do your ranking first. My ranking. Okay. I feel you are how many? 7 people, and you do your personal ranking. Then the next phase will be once you have finished your 10 minutes of ranking, then you have to do a team ranking like the assessors, consensus. Whether you will fight and stick to your own ranking, say no force fit that ranking there as team ranking, or whether you will come to a consensus saying yes, we all agree and do. So that's called team rank. Okay. So this is the task at hand. One is my ranking, the other is the team ranking. Time given for you for your own ranking is 10 minutes.
You have the Word document. So just keep ranking. On the left column, under my ranking.
Great. So team has come to a conclusion. Okay. Now, all ready? All right. So now there are two aspects to this. One is your own ranking, and then you have come together, discussed, and then you have come to one ranking, which is called team ranking. Now, all of you,
Yeah.
how did you feel
Yeah.
when the ranking you have given personally to one of the item which was challenged and you had to change it? आपको क्या लगा? You know what I'm asking you?
Everybody to put
That
their
your
rational.
ranking is different, but then as per the group, there may be for that item same ranking, or probably you needed to change it to another. So, did you feel anything? Did any of the group members feel that, hey, mera ranking nahi dala wahan par,
No, no.
No. Great. So, there was great teamwork. Okay. Now, from the perspective of assessment center, when we are assessing A, what are we assessing with this? This is not just a pastime game where hum ek ko kare. You using this exercise, you can test, say, for example, some of the competencies like what? Prioritization. Were you not ranking? Ranking is what? Prioritization, right?
Hmm.
Problem solving. Hmm? Yes, will you agree? Problem solving. Then judgment. Which one should be there? Which one should not be there? Judgment. Which ranking? Huh? Then all of you are working together. Teamwork. How do you work in a team? Say, for example, I have to hire people where there's more of a teamwork required. It's a project based. I actually want to take people who can work very well in a team. Let me tell you, many a times, um, I've personally experienced when you are actually taking software developers in a team, the as an individual contributor, that guy is great knowledge, great skills. He can do a lot of coding, everything, but he cannot get along well with the team. The work doesn't really, scale up. The work doesn't complete. Are there situations like that sometimes? Yeah.
Yes.
Hey guys,
Yes.
so it will be, so sometimes where again it's mostly teamwork, then you really have to assess them in terms of they may be great individual contributors, but does he really have good team working skills? Can he adjust, adapt, collaborate? Like, for example, why did I ask that question to you? Whether this team, your ranking was something and then you had to change it to another. And I mean, some of you said, no, we felt very comfortable. It was okay. All right. Okay. First of all, going to the ranking, what is the basis? How do you do? I gave you certain conditions that you are on the moon, no atmosphere, high temperatures, magnetic field which works on the on Earth doesn't work there, low gravity. So therefore, what is very, very important to you? So typically, as per the NASA, this is the NASA game, we call it as NASA says oxygen is very important for people to survive. Without oxygen, you can't live. So that becomes because, first of all, if I'm alive only, then I'll do the rest. So I have to be alive. So is there oxygen somewhere?
Yes.
Where is it? What ranking have you given? Excellent. So everybody wants to survive and you have given. You can actually give a nice applause to yourself. One. Next, you want to be hydrated. Pani chahiye, hai na? What is your two?
Gallon of water.
Ah, gallon of water. Very, very good. My God, looks like people are here. Then third का क्या दिया जरा देखे?
Solar power FM receiver.
Solar power.
लेकिन solar तो है ही नहीं उधर.
But actually, yeah, but you also need more than that. As per the NASA ranking, they say the stellar maps are very important because you can keep a track, because you can see stars. Okay, so stellar maps. Then you need food. Energy के लिए food है कहीं पर? देखो.
Food concentrate.
Yeah, good. You all have given. Okay, solar powers. Okay, you have changed it. Good. Then you'll need nylon rope. As this is the because injured people are pull करने के लिए, push करने के लिए, huh? Then you have first aid. First aid है कहीं? Yeah. Okay, good. Injection दिया. Then parachute.
पैराशूट को बहुत
Parachute.
हमने
Okay.
almost
Then there is something like, in you can actually use them life saving. कहाँ है वो? Self inflating lift rafts propulsion के लिए, ठीक है? You all use that. Good. Okay. Then 0.45 caliber pistols, though they don't work, you can use them for, because at least for just propulsion. Okay. Then parachute, yeah. Then you have parachute silk. Maybe you can use it for, covering yourself as a shelter, etc. All right. Now, matchbox, somebody said, I like that. Matchbox का कुछ use है?
फिलहाल तो नहीं.
Somebody said no. No oxygen, तो matchbox का क्या काम? Huh? Very good. Because there is no oxygen at all. Then 14 को क्या दिया?
no oxygen.
Absolutely. Even portable heating unit doesn't work. And radio receiver. है कहाँ? What is your, this one, where is that radio receiver? Radio.
We gave it radio
Where is
नहीं,
that?
solar power FM receiver. The second last.
So that should be the last one. Okay. But good job done, guys. So I told you, as I told you, essentially you can assess them for what all? Logical reasoning, and unfamiliar conditions. How will people take decisions? Okay. In a group, how will they collaborate? Huh? And especially, what is here? It's a very kind of a, not predictable environment. So, especially in your kind of a PSA environment, it's not very predictable. Terminal ke paas idhar. So, if you have to recruit people, how do they take decisions? How do they take best choosing this? So, these are some of the things you can assess by looking at the data and how do they do tasks. Very clear? Have you understood? And have you really, were able to get the essence of this exercise?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So this is so what does it mean? That means you have to decide on the exercise which will actually capture or assess the right kind of competencies. Okay. Now let us do another exercise called in basket. So what is the scenario, guys? So we are actually now taking you through another very interesting assessment center exercise called in basket exercise. When I say in basket, you can actually assume that you have come to office and you have your inbox. Inbox में ये सारा काम है. Okay. What is the scenario? You are a recruitment manager. All of you guys are recruitment managers. Okay. Of PSA Global. And it's Monday morning. So there are a lot of tasks and emails piled up. Typically, that's what happens, no? Monday morning. Now, what you need to do is, so what you have to do, please read through your inbox mails and take necessary action. Let's see what you'll do. Okay? What you need to do? You may have to communicate, you have to do whatever you want to do. You can delegate, you can put it later. The task is you have these items in your inbox and you have to take action.
It's an individual exercise.
How are you going to handle them?
Okay.
You can write, you have to write there. I'm doing it later. Action. So, these are your 8 in basket items, what action are you planning to do? Simple as that. You have to hire an executive assistant, right?
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
And we need to expedite the recruitment process for an executive assistant. The board of directors expects the position to be filled within 2 weeks. Please provide an update on the current status and the steps you will take to meet the deadline. What
So
is your
that's why,
action?
yeah, I have to give him current update ki where I am, and I have to give the details when
Mm.
I'm going to fill that before the deadline. And as
So
his CEO,
you will do it right now?
yeah, I will take that is priority number one for me.
Okay. Any variations? What are others thinking? Any variation? Any other
Same,
variation in the action?
same, ma'am.
Same. Everybody same. Anybody who has done a different one?
बोल
Priyanka?
I have done differently.
नहीं तुम चालू करो.
Okay.
Yeah. What would you? Yeah. Any variation? Everybody is the same, is it? Any variation?
Yes, I have done differently.
Now, what I'm saying, it says urgent, right? And that means, but you can also, to expedite the matter, you can ask your assistant, because manager, or still there'll be another recruitment assistant who can give you a quick update. So you will delegate first giving me the status report, not that you will do it directly, and then you will go through it, review it, and give it
बोला
up. Okay, okay. Next, let's go
मैं
to the
थोड़ा
next one.
अर्जेंट है मैं एक मीटिंग में हूँ. हाँ.
Yeah. Memo from the team member. Yes, Manoj. Memo from team member. Manoj, are you there? Huh?
Let him give as per his priority.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Then I will give second priority to complaint from the hiring manager. So he mentioned that case 7 number. There are delays in the recruitment process. There have been the segment delays in the recruitment process by department. You urgent need to new staff. Can you provide an update? Again, I have to give update because otherwise he will go to CEO.
There have been significant delays in the recruitment for my department. We urgently need a new staff. Can you provide update on this? Rightly said. I being a CHR, I know how the business acts. वो तो बिल्कुल चला जाएगा सीईओ को एस्केलेशन करने के लिए.
Yeah. Then third part is
कॉम्प्लिकेट कर
calendar
देता.
invite meeting. Marketing का team का है because marketing team is not available all the time. So they are also said that please attend meeting with the marketing team on Wednesday 2 p.m. to discuss new recruitment campaign. Can you input? Your input is crucial. So I will
कौन
ask
सा
my
वाला है वो?
person.
मैं भूल जा रही हूँ.
Yeah,
Where is it?
number 4.
Okay, हाँ.
So
Calendar
I will
invite.
ask
ठीक है.
immediately my team to prepare that our details because the marketing
Right.
team is available very limited time. So I have to give because they are going to earn money from me. So I have
Good.
to give a test for them.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
number 4 I will give to both the 5 and 6. They are equal, I feel.
Mm.
And last I priority give to resume from a candidate. जो he is asking me, and last to last I will give email from the candidate where his interview I have completed and he is just following up. So I don't care about him right now because already he had the interview. So number 8 will be my last. Number
Okay.
3 will be my second last. And 5 and 6 are I feel the same. Both are the equal
Okay.
important. No,
Uh-huh.
we can take simultaneously both.
Okay.
5 कौन सा था?
5 the report from diversity inclusive officer and reminder from IT department. Both are
ये कौन?
saying that.
अच्छा. What about
ठीक
3
है.
resume from a candidate?
Resume the number 6, 7 you can say.
Okay.
And number 8 email from the candidate. He is following me for the interview. What happened?
Okay. और एक है memo from team member.
Memo from team member, that is number 5.
अच्छा.
Okay. I recommend.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Okay. All right.
so this
So
is
what does it tell you when we are looking at यहाँ तो उतना ज़्यादा ये नहीं है. So when you are giving a kind of an exercise, what does it assess? Assess एक तो हमने क्या है urgency है ना?
yeah,
अभी
urgency and
आग गया क्या urgent and important.
yes,
एक
urgent and
time
important.
management. Yeah.
I will refer in another way. Urgent and important, and it is the high risk to the business. That I will also
And
consider.
risk. I was
Yeah.
just about to mention risk बहुत ज्यादा है क्या? Because especially why I said risk because of this port, and I also acknowledge you are saying risk because port environment में risk, compliance, statutory, safety, these become really very
Yes, yes,
of
yes.
high priority, right? So
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. So when we do a inbox for people, especially inbox will be very useful for, in your kind of an organization where you can assess all these things, where you can assess in time management. We have a quadrant saying that I'm sure all of you will know urgent, important. ठीक है?
Yes.
सो सम थिंग्स आर बिल्कुल आप आओगे, हाँ, इनबॉक्स में देखोगे कि ये बहुत ही अर्जेंट है, बट दे मे नॉट बी इम्पोर्टेंट, है ना?
Yeah.
अर्जेंट है, करना ही है क्योंकि वो ये अर्जेंट है, सो यू हैव टू डू देम. देन there may be some things which are actually not very urgent, but they are very important for long term, है ना? तो उसके लिए थोड़ा थोड़ा टाइम निकालना होता है. So they may not be very urgent, but they are important. But if you don't do them, then they will become again, escalation matters later on. Then there are some things which are neither urgent, neither important. उनको हम क्या कर सकते हैं? जब मनाए तब कर सकते हैं, नहीं तो तब तक बिन में रह सकते हैं. नहीं, they're neither urgent or important. Like for
Before
example,
that, there is one more part. Important but not urgent.
I was just coming to that quadrant. So in a time quadrant, important but not urgent.
Urgent.
उनको कब करोगे आप? You
Third.
have to apportion time. हाँ?
Third. पहला urgent and important. Second is
Yes,
urgent but not
absolutely.
urgent and
Towards
not
the evening,
important.
you can do. And
Yes.
things which are neither urgent, neither important, you can do
Last.
बिल्कुल जब टाइम मिला तब देख सकते हैं. So
Right.
that's how you prioritize things. So here what happens in basket में, you actually know how these persons vis-a-vis the risk, vis-a-vis the urgency, the quality of decisions can be processed. Are they asking for more information, or how are they making even problem solving can be looked at, because when you have a list of things, how are you analyzing the problem, how are you identifying the root cause, तो फटाफट आप कोई practical solution दे रहे हैं क्या? Your responsiveness, are you anticipating, when you take a decision, are you anticipating the consequences also? Like for example, you said risk, तो risk को anticipate करना होता है, नहीं? Okay, great guys. I think all of you, I hope all of you have been able to do this. And I also told you that why this exercise is used or test is used, for what purposes, to assess what tests. Okay. All right. Yeah, you can now. Second, let me. So typically, as I said, the flow is, once you have your job elements, you will identify competencies. And once you have the competencies, you will look at your proficiency levels. And then you will also create your matrix, and you will then have your assessors assess and process the data. And you can get a report like this, whether you have to hire or whether you have to reject, or if it is for developmental purposes, you will also look at it in terms of what kind of gaps are there, and you will also design your L&D calendar accordingly. Okay, high predictive validity. Now, having said that, typically assessment centers में entry level positions के लिए what kind of exercises you can use, right? Then mid-level positions के लिए what kind of exercises you can use. Mid-level में in basket you can use leadership simulation, group activities, role plays, 360 degrees feedback. All these are some of the exercises you can use. Senior level के लिए क्या use कर सकते हैं आप? You can still use 360 degrees feedback. You can give case study. Typically, when you're hiring a CHRO, CXO's positions, you give case studies. Because why case studies? Tell me why case studies? Manoj?
In that
For
case,
senior positions, we can use case studies, business case studies. Why?
we can get their perspective, how they are looking at that case, and how they are providing their suggestions or all the things, troubleshooting, how they are taking that case.
See, what is very important, even if you are an HR person, if you are head HR, even vice president, like you are a senior person, okay, important to give business case studies. I'm not looking, your job is not just an operational, just to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
with,
yeah.
you have to understand business. You have to understand the business scenario, the strategic thinking,
Yes, yes.
huh? At a
Yeah,
strategy level. You're not more at a doing level, operation level.
yeah, yeah,
For
yeah.
that, your frontline people are there.
Yes.
So I have to assess how can you, evaluate risk? How can you develop strategy plans based on the business strategy for your department of whichever business you are responsible, accountable? How are you going to derive it and use the strategic advantage of the business? So, and फिर हमको ये भी देखना होता है, emotional intelligence is also important. EQ at a top level, EQ is of high importance, है ना?
Yeah.
At a lower level, not much. So all these leadership ability, business acumen. So therefore, most of the time we are giving simulations, leadership simulation, case study. He has to do also presentation after a case. Why? I want to look at how are you able to present it, and they will call top management, चार पांच log. How will you convince them? How will you influence them? Your point of view. Got it? Okay. So these are the things we do for senior level positions. And when you're doing a promotion or an internal transfer, you can still do assessment centers. You can have, a third party doing it typically. Okay. You can do skill tests. These are some of, you can have panel interviews, means not just one person, having 3 or 4 people doing a panel. We are going to learn this. Behavioral interviews. All right. Leadership assessments. So these are some of the things which we'll be doing. Okay, guys. So we can also use psychometric tests. Are you all familiar with some psychometric tests? Anybody?
Yeah, we use currently we are using PI, predictive
Okay.
index.
Yeah, predictive index. Okay. So I'm a DISC certified, so you can do DISC,
Yeah,
MBTI.
we do use disk, but
Yeah.
I mean globally we do use disk, but currently in India we are using PI, even for very specifically for understanding of cognitive abilities at manager and above level positions. We
Okay.
do use it as a tool, one of the tools to look at when we hire as well, that at what level the person stands.
Excellent. That's very important. Yeah. So I think, but these, when you use any psychometric test, like whether it's an MBTI or a DISC, typically the practice or the trend for most of the organization is, to again, then this is used only as a referral to validate. But you cannot take a decision just based out of the psychometric test scores, but to validate, because you are having an assessment center input, and if it is deviating from the psychometric test results, so you really would like to go deeper down there, so it helps you. But yes, definitely psychometric tests also help a lot in terms of understanding the person. As you said, PI helps in, especially at a cognitive level. Likewise, even if you want to look at the emotional quotient today, um, which is becoming very, very important for middle management and even top management. So these are the various things. In fact, we also use something called career drivers. It's a very some psychometric tests are very expensive, like this you have to pay a lot of money, but some are free online, you can use them. There is one called which you can use, and Vilma can also send it, career drivers, which I found this career drivers instrument very useful for what, for especially hiring. Okay, you have posted a job, and there are certain kind of things you are giving. It could be a money, or it could be career, it could be whatever. So there are about 8 or 9 career drivers a person is looking at. Out of them, there could be 2 or 3 priorities for that person. So if there is a fit between what the candidate is looking at and what the job is offering, then what happens? The person stays for a longer time. Like, for example, as per this career drivers instrument, so money is one of them, then what is it? Status, then independence, then subject matter expertise, etc. So there are 9 drivers. When you go through these 30 odd questions, then you get a profile of which are those top 3 drivers. And then you can fit them with the job offering, and then see if there is a good fit. If the fit is about 80, between 70 to 80, 85%, then you can say, hey, this is a good fit. All right. Okay. Okay, guys. So let me also show you how you can get a picture like this when you do an assessment. This is called this web, where, the uh, required scores or required levels, proficiency levels for that particular role vis-a-vis, you can interchangeably use competency or a dimension. Say, for example, creativity, leadership, strategic mindset, dialogue, and communication, managerial skills. These are the competencies required for some role. So red will represent after the assessment. So, and what is required is this is the benchmark. These are the proficiency levels. So can any one of you tell me where is the gap, in which competency is there a gap? As I said, red is the assessment one and green is the benchmarked one. Anybody? If you see strategic mindset, huh?
Yeah, strategic mindset.
No, there's a huge gap, right?
Yes.
Leadership and influence, okay, almost there. But then again, communication, there's a gap. Creativity. So if I was doing a developmental center and I found these graphs like this, so that means this guy needs training in strategic mindset, right? Strategy training. Some amount of communication, some amount of creativity. Okay. So this is how a pictorial, this is called a nice web-based web diagram, this is called. Okay. It's just an illustration. So this is the process, a visual process when we do assessment centers. If you can see, this is typically for a client-facing client, relationship management position. So these are the competencies: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 competencies: customer orientation, relationship building, problem resolution, information and communication, result orientation, and readiness. Okay. And so he was here. So you can make a nice graph like this. And then you can also put the other graph. What is the benchmark? What is it required? Then you can get a clear gap of it. Okay. You can do all these graphs once you get data. It's interesting to do all these things. Okay. Okay, guys. And what is a business insights? You can understand the gaps. You can do benchmarking. You can be better than your other peer organizations. It can also take care of your risk. Risk in terms of, positions which don't have huge gaps, and very important to ensure that they, have the right kind of competencies. So even risk management is taken care of, because ultimately, if you don't have the competencies, you can't perform. So these are the business insights. Again, it's very, very important for you to understand that whether you are L&D, whether you are HRBP, whether you are the entire HR department, say for example, the MD calls 3 people: the HR head, the finance guy, and the marketing guy. Typically, whom do you think he will actually interact first with?
Marketing.
Why?
So he's going to
One
win
of
the
us
business,
seems to
no?
be having a very good experience, right? Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Second he'll meet to finance guy.
Market is very important. And then he'll talk the finance guy because numbers are very important.
Yeah.
Then comes the HR guy, theek hai. But
Yeah.
hey guys, let me tell you, actually we have, we are always fighting for the corner chair. But let me tell you that today, organizations which have realized that human capital is the one which creates that competitive advantage. Finance, yes. Because why? Hey, what is my revenue? What is my productivity? What is my profit? But where does it come from? If your people don't have competencies and they don't perform, so how can finance guy collect revenue? Okay. So therefore, human capital is very, very important. Human capital readiness is very important. And you as the HR person are the custodian for the readiness. And readiness can come only when you know, hey, what the capabilities are required. Okay. So that's where competencies are very important. Not that I will hire anybody and he will perform, I will train. No, these are not the days how you. So if you hire the right person, then you will have the right kind of capabilities. Okay. So this is what is all about what competency management and assessment center. We talked about competencies, and then we talked about how to map competencies, and then we looked at how to assess competencies. Now, in this session, we are going to learn about a very, very key and important, you can call it as a tool and a technique, which can be used straight away when you go back in your organization, whenever you are hiring, or even sometimes you can use it for your performance appraisals. And here we are also going to talk about feedback. How do you give feedback? All right. So this session is all about how do you conduct, analyze a competency based interview through a technique called behavioral event interviewing, which makes it what? Evidence based, which makes it very predictable to ensure that the person you hire performs. Predictability, reliability, and there is validity. These are statistical terms you use: predictability, validity, and reliability. Whenever you use an instrument like an MBTI or like a fire OBE, these are all instruments which have been, a lot of research has gone into them. For several years, people have worked on them. So their reliability, validity, predictability is very, very high. Okay. All right. So get going. Okay. My first question to all of you is, I want not what should be, I'm sure at some point of time in this organization, all of you did some interviewing. So typically, what are those 1 or 2 questions you ask How do you go about interviewing a candidate for any position? In fact, I'm sure Manoj must be interviewing so many people, even others. How do you go about what are the questions? One or two questions you ask. I didn't say you will. You typically ask when you interviewed. Yeah. I want some participation, guys, because that's how you'll learn. Yeah. Quick.
I think Manoj can give because he conducts interview. Apart from
Okay.
that,
One
I think.
question. Yeah. So typically, how do you do?
Or Chennai team, Kamal, you take by any chance interviews?
Yeah.
You can also add.
So what are those questions you ask?
Moreover, to
Hmm.
meet their like
Tell me
existing role.
exactly verbatim a question I mean, what do you ask? You can give it to me as a verbatim, means what you actually ask a candidate.
So, what is the current role and responsibility? Either it could be meet our expectation. So,
Okay. So
either in the
typically you
similar,
start off with
similar.
what is the current role you are doing and what are your responsibilities. Okay. Any other question? Little more side. Yeah.
What do
The
you think
purpose of this
makes
question.
you suitable
Pardon?
for
Yeah.
this role? What do you
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
makes you suitable for this new role that that you have applied for?
What?
Makes
Why do
you,
you think?
why do you
No?
think, yeah,
Huh?
that you are suitable for this role that you are interviewing, maybe?
Okay. That why do you think you are suitable for this position? For whatever role that person has come for. No? Why do you think? Okay. Anybody? Any other question? One more?
So situation can be given to them to see what actions they would do and what is the outcome, something like that.
Okay. So typically sometimes you give a situation to see how they are doing the situation. Okay. Okay. So typically what happens, the traditional way of interviewing, 60% of the organization, though they will talk about competency, etc., because their interviewers or their selecting panel is not trained. So what they do typically, they ask questions more from the traditional approach. So what you will do first, you will take a resume. The hiring manager will send it to, how does it work? Send it to the recruitment department. Then the recruitment department will, the recruiting the manager will take care of what with this team. Source CVs as per the requirement, right? Okay. Screen and shortlist. Now, what will the person who's doing the hiring, interviewing will do? He'll go through the resume mostly. I think half the time people don't look at job description also as to what is the JD required, accepting that they know I have to hire safety manager operations or have to hire, but not very often. It is my experience of having worked in organizations as an HR head that many a times the recruitment team doesn't take into consideration, and even the hiring manager JD में क्या लिखा है, what are that required. Now they'll go more by the resume. So um, hiring managers or people who are interviewing, if they keep interviewing more by the resume, what does it become? It becomes more person dependent, resume dependent, in the sense you're not even looking at a criteria, you're looking at your, tell me what qualification, what experience. So you're interviewing everything going by that resume only. So these are traditional. You'll say, what do you, or we will ask hypothetical questions. So what are hypothetical questions? Something like somebody mentioned here. Why do you think you're suitable? Then I will say, I will give the right answer, right? In fact, there are coaching centers to train you. So any question which is hypothetical, do you think are you a team leader? Can you, so if you give any hypothetical situation, it is very natural for the candidate to suit his answers or her answers to the question. These are traditional interviews. So what happens? You are actually not testing the real person. You are only assessing. Yeah. Manoj is back. So Manoj, you just joined us. So we are just looking at how people, traditional interviews are questions more focused on the resume or more focused on the hypothetical questions. What can you do in the future?
Right.
But the competency theory says, as per David McClelland, there's one statement what David McClelland says. Past behavior predicts future behavior. What is it? As per the competency theory, past behavior predicts future behavior. And therefore, competency based interviewing is very, very effective. Why? Because you are focusing not the person can do. What do you think you can do? What will you be in the next 10 years? No. I'm focusing more on all the critical situations, critical things he has done. How did he go about more on the behaviors, action on the past, so that I'm able to predict the future. So this is the fundamental philosophy or the basis of a competency based interviewing, where we are looking at past behavior predicts future behavior. Okay. So when you're doing a competency based interviewing, definitely you must have your competencies in place. When I said that, like for example, in your last session yesterday, you all mapped the required competencies for both the positions, for the HR position and the security position. Okay. So if I were to select that HR person, I will go through the competencies, their proficiency levels, and then interview the person based on those competencies, whether it's decision making or operational excellence or employee engagement. Okay. Then what will happen if I'm actually basing my interview based on those competencies required? I'm able to predict the person's performance much higher. It will be more reliable because it will be more evidence based. Got it, guys? Okay, the fundamental thing. So, therefore, competency based interviewing, you have to have your competencies in place. Okay, and you will use a technique called a behavioral event interview. That's why I've written it BEI. And BEI is as simple as situation based. Situation based. If you recall, yesterday I told you, I can ask him, oh, what are your qualification? I need an MTech. No, okay, oh, MTech. Then what is the skill? But just by knowing the know-how and also the ability, I cannot predict that he will be successful on the job. I have to know how did he perform in a particular critical situation. Say, who said that? I was talking to Kamala Kanan. He said, I'm also looking at IR. And in IR, there are a lot of disciplinary inquiries happening, which become a part of it if IR man as a part of the IR person. Okay. So Kamala Kanan is actually maybe hiring. Okay, good knowledge of all the labor laws, Industrial Relations Act, IR Act, all the bills, everything you should know. All right. And then he has also the skill, okay, of disciplinary proceedings, etc., etc. But his ability to really be a very effective IR manager will come when he is able to handle and go through the entire process of disciplinary inquiry by applying that know-how and the skill. Making sense? Please give me a thumbs up if I'm just making sense. Okay. I think post lunch everybody is feeling very sleepy. Huh?
Nirmala, your screen is not moving. I think stop.
अभी move कर रहा है. Why? क्यों ऐसा? That's what I'm just thinking. Okay. Give me a minute. Frozen हो गया थोड़ा सा.
Stop sharing and then do it again.
That's what I said. it needed a refresh, I think.
First
इसको भी
page,
forward किया था।
flash हुआ.
No, we can.
Let me just see. Okay. Yeah. I'll make it big now. Huh? Okay. Okay. Done. So I have already given you the background and the context. So it is higher predictive validity. It is more objective. It is not subjective. It is more relevant to the job and it demonstrates performance. So the focus is very important to have the competencies. And once you have the competencies, what is the technique? The questions. How are you going to ask questions? What type of questions are you going to ask? So I'll just skip this and I'll say, hey, when you're using, did I tell you this? That we use typically all our questions are based around past behavior predicts future behavior. Okay. This is a effective interviewing technique. When I say past behavior, we are talking about this technique called STAR. What are we talking about? A STAR technique. Have you heard of STAR? I'm sure everybody's heard of STAR.
Yeah.
Yes.
Situation, task, action, and result. So, when I ask situation, that situation should be a critical situation, not every day, okay, I took the attendance, I did this, I did an activity. No. This situation should have a critical incident. So when I say critical incident, what does it mean?
Critical is what? Important.
Very important. Yes, important, critical. Like for example, I am hiring a recruitment executive, and this hiring is what? Say it is not just volume hiring. Is there a difference between volume hiring and just hiring for one or two positions?
Yes.
Huh? Because the entire strategy is different, right? Volume hiring. Huh?
Correct.
Yeah.
So now I've actually called in whom Kamlakanan, and I have to now interview him and for a volume hiring recruitment position. So I need to find out whether he can manage volume hiring because the strategy is very, very different. Because there has to be walk-in, there has to be, road shows. The entire strategy is different because you have to bring in volumes of resumes also. So I will ask him, okay, tell me in the recent times, a situation where you have done volume hiring, right? I want to know a situation. Okay. Then I will know the background. Okay. For whom were you hiring? How many number? Okay. Tell me what is that you did or how did you go about it? What was the task to be done? How many people had to be hired? Then what did you do? Then what was, so I'm asking him everything in detail like a story. So what action did you take? So then exactly verbs. I don't want whether you hired so many, quickly people will say, I hired 50 people, I do this. So they will only talk about outcomes or results. I'm not so much more interested in result. I want to know the entire process, the how part of it. Because the how part, that is the action, will tell me whether he was proactive, whether he initiated action, or whether he was able to judge, whether he was able to work with in ambiguity with less data. Everything will come out for me. The result is not, it is insignificant for me. So then I will know, hey, he's a great initiator, he's a leader, or he's a great influencer, he's a person. So I got so much, even to the extent when he closes, how many offers to, acceptance, and then how many actually onboarded, one knows, was he a persuasive? There are people, recruiters who will really convince people, influence people to join, So even if you accept an offer, you will find that, that the offer acceptance to joining ratio sometimes is very less. You have planned a training, what is it? Priyanka has planned a, onboarding and orientation for 20 pack. But then only 5 people appeared. Disappointment. Hiring manager will say, hey, I planned everything accordingly. And what is this? So all these things will be reflected when you talk in detail about how the entire situation went through. So this is called what? A star method. So this is also used in a behavioral event interviewing where we talk about critical incidents. Not necessarily they should be always high, resulting into success. They can also result into failure. And we want to know what happened, why it happened, how. So it also reflects a lot of the competencies which are there within the person, which will help us. So here the guiding factor is I have to go by a criteria what is required as per the competencies of the position, not get into, okay, say for example, a very important key competency for a recruitment manager. What could it be? Tell me, anybody, recruitment manager. Negotiating. Will you agree? Negotiating? Because you have actually, you have to you have a position, very CEO or CXO kind of a thing, where that person you have to hire him. Now this guy is very good, but he is not coming down on his salary. How is he able to negotiate? What is all that he did? Okay. So negotiating, or for a marketing guy, how did he go about selling, convincing, meeting large targets, or selling in new markets, or selling a new product. So you can identify as per the required competencies. You need to really ask the situations, not that. So that is your guiding factor. That is the competencies required for the position. Okay. So the technique here is the type of questions you ask. Now, when we ask questions in a competency-based interviewing, and especially using a BEI technique, you cannot ask questions A, hypothetical, totally no. You typically start off with asking an open-ended question, like this question. Let me know about your current role and responsibilities. What kind of a question is it? Open-ended question, because you are giving him a comfort factor, getting him to know more about the role and responsibilities, which I'm also very comfortable speaking about it. You want him to open up. It's an icebreaker also, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we ask a question like, okay, tell me something about yourself, or run me through your uh, professional qualification experience, or run me through your resume. So it is there written, but you want to break the ice, you want to make him comfortable. Okay. Initially, you ask open-ended questions. What are open-ended questions? Which lets the candidate open up and give more broad information, as opposed to closed questions. What are closed-ended questions?
Yes,
Oh, are
ma'am.
you a team leader? Are you a team player? Then what will I say? Yes, I am. And nothing beyond that, right? So, no closed questions at the beginning, only open-ended questions. Then, in today's times, there are certain questions which are not being asked, vague questions. One very, very popular HR question earlier was, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Very common. No?
Yes.
What do you do with that? What will you say? I know how the candidate will manipulate, and he can also say something or the other. How does it help you to improve your rejection or selection? It doesn't give you any input. So in today's time, nobody is asking strengths and weaknesses, because they always know how to do that. No questions. What are some of those vague questions you can't ask?
maybe some gender bias questions like
Yeah, these are absolutely no. Gender biased, are you married, what is your religion, etc. These are some of those questions which you just can't ask. So let us actually run through some of the interesting questions what you can do. Okay. So if I were to ask you what is behavioral based interviewing, that means you are actually interviewing based on the past behavior, because you are saying, hey, past behavior predicts future behavior. Okay. Now, in a behavioral event interview, you are actually asking him to describe a situation, a critical situation, which in the recent times or a little more, but not, okay, 20 years ago, not very, in the recent times. All right. Yeah. Okay, when you start asking, or when you start, what is it, asking for a situation, you also have to learn a technique called probing. Why do we probe? You want to probe because you want to know deeper and deeper, not at the surface level. Somebody was asking me yesterday, how do we find out the motives and traits? Now, by doing probing, we get to know what. So so when you keep probing, okay, what drove you to that? So we get to know the motives. We get to know the real, the real intent. So probing, how do you probe?
Asking deeper and
questions, why based,
Asking questions, yeah.
why,
So
why.
if I ask a question and then ask another question, multiple questions, does that mean probing?
No.
No. I have to keep asking the same thing, probe further and further. Okay. And then what happened? Okay. And then what did you do? Okay. So you are going deeper and deeper, understanding, hey, what depth of, the depth of that person, what did he do, how did he go about. So that's called probing. So another thing you have to learn, very very important, when you're doing this competency based interviewing through BEI, is probing. Okay. So let's quickly, I want to give you, so typically what are those competencies we check depending on the role? We can check for adaptability, we can check for culture fit, we can check for collaboration, okay, we can check for leadership. But I'm going to give you some very interesting activity. Okay. And as I said, after you collect the data, again, typically like an assessment center, what is that I asked you? Observe, record, classify, evaluate. Don't evaluate a person immediately. You observe, you record, you look at your data, and then you take action. Okay. So this is called the ORS method, where you also use it for your BEI. Okay. Today, even you have added another R called reflection. Okay. I'm going to give you 1 second. Yeah. This is a skill which you have to learn. Whenever you are asking questions, it's a nice way to ask, tell me about a time when you did this. Open-ended. Describe for me, or give me an example. Okay. These are all open-ended questions. So there is a way to start an open-ended question. You don't typically start with, why did you do it? What did you do? But you typically start with something like a describe, or tell me about, or help me with this, that kind of a thing. Okay. Are you a team player? Is it an open-ended question or a closed-ended question?
Closed.
Closed. What will you say? If I ask, are you a team player? What will you say? Yes, I am a team player. Will it give me more information about assessing teamwork? No. But if I were to ask, tell me about a time when you were in charge of a task or a project, describe how did you go about. So I want to know more about it. So he may tell me a situation, etc., etc. Right?
Hmm.
Okay, let me. I'm going to ask a specific person and I want to see. Convert these questions into behavioral based questions. Are you a team player? You can tell me about a time you had to be you have to work in a team, and what was the situation like? What did you do? How did you go about? Okay. How do you motivate people? Anybody take a call. How will you ask that question? I want to see, is he a good motivator or whatever? How do you motivate people? Convert this question.
The same like earlier. Describe your leadership style.
Uh, I can say, if you say describe your leadership style. So you have to go more into tell me a time when you had to work in a team and how did you go about motivating those people, right? You want
Yeah.
to know a situation, but straight away, how do you motivate people? You want to know the behavior. That means a situation, right?
Mhm.
This is an interesting question. What motivates you to excel? How will you convert this question? The purpose of this question is I want to know whether Rajkumar, okay, what is that which actually makes him, when he goes to the job, he would like to really, be excellent in the performance. What motivates him to be excellent in the performance? So how will you convert that? I want to know what is he best at? What will he give his best? So how will you convert this question? Anybody? Any clue?
Maybe we can ask his driving factors.
I can always be very, oh yeah, these are my driving factors. I can always say something, which may not be true. I can fake.
Then what motivates you to excel?
Maybe what you
No,
are
this is,
passionate about.
I'm not
Okay.
asking this question, but this, how will you convert it? Because I want to know. So, say for example, I'll say, hey, Rajkumar, so tell me the last time uh, you performed to your best. What was that? So, what was the thing which made you really work very well in that? How
Hmm.
did you go about? What you're asking again? So, a past behavior, a past incident. Are you with me?
Yeah. So maybe example, tell me an example where
Give me an example. Yes,
succeeded
you're right.
in a given
Yes.
situation or
Ah,
project, like that we can ask.
yes, absolutely. So when was the last time? Yeah, you give me an example or describe a project where you had to give the best. What happened? What did you do? How did you go about? Who were the members of the project? And what was your role in it?
Yeah, we
Right?
can. Yes.
What did you do then? How did you initiate the action? What kind of decisions you took? Got it? What
Hmm.
information you had to look at? What was lacking there? So he can't fake then. He
Hmm.
can't fabricate a situation then. Because when you know with his body language, you have to watch him also. Listening skills are very important. Watching his body language is important because if you are faking, you know exactly how. So one situation he can fake, two situations he can fake. He can't fake all the time, right?
Hmm.
So then once you document all this, then you are also looking at patterns of data. Okay, let me give you another interesting. Determine which competencies are assessed with the following questions. You have, okay, no, forget about the time. Describe a time you worked with a team. And the left side, these are all the competencies. So, what all competencies I can assess with this question? Describe a time you worked with a team. Yes, Manoj or Rajkumar? I haven't
Uh,
heard Rajkumar.
yeah,
No, I think,
teamwork.
huh? Yes, teamwork. And
Then we have cooperation.
yes, communication also.
We have
Then
communication, cooperation. Then
yes,
collaboration.
Collaboration.
absolutely, absolutely. You were right. Right,
Mhm.
absolutely. Tell me
Interpersonal also आ
about a
जाएगा.
time. Tell me about a time when you had to motivate a group of people to meet a deadline. So that means I'm a project manager or a project leader. I have to work on a project which has to be completed within a deadline, right? I have 5 members. So you are asking, now I'm actually hiring a project manager. So I'm asking, tell me about a time when you had to motivate a group of people to meet a deadline. Deadline is coming off. So what did you do? How did you do? So what are some of the competencies you are assessing here?
Fo- Follow through.
Excellent. Who is this? Manoja?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Excellent.
Commitment.
Yes, you are. Yeah, there is a amount of commitment. Follow through is really very good. Yeah. Anything else?
Communication also.
Yeah. Communication. How you are all the time communicating, etc. It helps, right? Give me an example of a time. Please note every time. Describe a time. Tell me about a time. Give me an example of a time. I'm not asking question, why did you think? Why do you think? No? So nothing in future. I'm always looking at the past behavior. Example of you had to motivate yourself. Here it is not your group. You had to motivate yourself to get a project done. How did you do this?
Ambition, management,
Ambition.
Pardon?
Ambition.
ambition,
Okay, then
management,
where does management come? So
Interpersonal.
this is a
Interpersonal.
commitment. Commitment. You have a deadline, you have to motivate yourself. So commitment, right? Anything you can think of?
Collaboration also.
Where? With whom?
With the,
Yeah,
with
say for
project.
example, this is a project. So therefore, you will also look at, because you have to finish it on deadline, maybe there are people, so you
have
could,
to work with the team.
assumption. Assumption, okay, great. Tell me about a time when you had to handle a kind of a project you have not handled before. What competency am I looking at? Tell me about a time. It's a new project. You have never handled this project. Huh? How did you go about? So what competencies are you looking at?
problem solving,
Pardon?
problem solving,
See, more importantly, a project which you have not handled before. So you are
Resource,
looking at resourcefulness, how
resourceful, yes.
resourceful is.
Yeah.
New project, ma. So you have to look at a lot of resources. Got it? You can't say, yo, I never handled this project, so how will I go about? Right? Tell me about a time when you were under great deal of pressure to deliver on time.
Time management.
Time management.
Absolutely. Describe a time when you had to choose between product delivery and quality.
Decision making.
Yeah, absolutely. So when he goes through the entire situation, etc., you will be able to understand what when you are saying decision making. Okay, you are looking at a lot of things, information, etc., and how are you able to actually decide then? Describe an unpopular decision you had to make. Obviously, decision making again. Describe the most effective team that you were a part or led. So when you are explaining all this, you are obviously looking at teamwork, right?
Teamwork.
Okay. All right. But have you seen how these questions, how do they start? How do they start? What are the words you are using? Tell me, describe, right? So everything is what? Talking about the past.
Cause, past, predict, future, behavior.
Okay. So,
CBI.
so when you have this, you are going to assess them vis-a-vis what? Vis-a-vis the rating scales. Now we are going to do quickly a mock interview. Okay. So yeah, somebody said legally defensible. Sex, race, color, national origin, religion, all these things. Nobody, you're not supposed to ask when you're interviewing. Huh? Okay. And then again, questions like hypothetical questions. What are hypothetical questions? What will you do? Right? Huh? Something which is future oriented because they don't give you any kind of evidence whether the person can do or not. What are leading questions? Very, very easy. Are you a leader? Yes. Oh, can you do this? Yes. So these are leading questions. They only translate into yes or no. All right. What are follow-up questions? Yes, you are encouraging him, asking, okay, tell me more about it, trying to get some more clarification, sometimes even a pause. So all this while when you're asking questions, one thing very important, you also have to watch the person's body language. Body language is very, very key. What are some of positive body language gestures and postures? Anybody? What are the some of positive body language postures?
Nodding head.
Nodding, leaning forward,
Mm.
leaning forward. That means it shows some enthusiasm, motivation, etc. Okay.
Eye
But
contact, maybe.
eye contact. But tell me how much of eye contact. I can't glare into that person's eyes, right? He'll become so conscious because on eye contact, there's so much of debate over it. How much of eye contact, right? Huh? As an interviewer, you can't keep talking over the phone, huh? And say, okay, you tell me, I'll keep listening, and you are busy, huh? Talking over the phone or sitting in your chair in a very laid back condition and picking up something. So maybe you're listening, but at least you have to be also be perceived. You know what is perceived? See, I will tell the child, okay, tell me, I'm listening, mother and child. But child will say, Mommy, you are doing something, you're not listening to me. Maybe the mother is listening. So you have to be perceived to be hearing also, listening also, right? Perception matters, no?
Yeah. But when we
So,
perceive, we actually have to. Otherwise, no point of perceiving.
no, so there is something called what? Mirroring the body language, no? Why do
Mm.
you mirror? So that you are perceived to be okay. Sometimes you become such a way. I mean, you can mirror it and still not be like
Yeah.
listening to it, huh?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So, but body language is a great instrument. You can make out. So I talked about vague and opinions and hypothetical. Okay. Now, situations also have to be recent and relevant and not something. Now we also have to avoid something called the halo effect. What is halo effect?
Positive, optimistic,
Halo.
No, recent, like,
is it?
I put a very big red color and then we put halo effect.
just what happened, no? Same, we are considering, comparing with our next candidate.
I'll give you very interesting. Huh? So here Shankar is taking an interview and there is this candidate who comes very well dressed, suited, booted, everything.
Yeah.
Huh? And says, may I come in, sir? And Shankar is really impressed. No? Really impressed the way he dressed and all. So as a result, he did not give any weightage to any other thing, what he answered, how he responded, that effect, halo effect of that impression. First, that impression, I'll come to first impression later. So that was that created the criteria for him to say, hey, he has to be selected. Why? He could only think of, oh, he is so well dressed, he's this, that. So halo effect. But isn't that a prejudice? Because I really like, people who are very well dressed. And so that's a prejudice. I was subjective. So my decision depended upon that, he was well dressed, etc. Or first impression, the way people spoke and the first impression he created in the mind of the interviewer, that decided his selection. So this is called halo effect. The opposite of halo effect is called the horn effect. What is horn? Kamala Kanan is interviewing somebody, and this person very stylishly puts on a very funny accent, such as, American accent. So they say, yo, he's a natural Indian. Why is he putting on that accent? He didn't like it at all. Though he was very good in his knowledge, skill, and everything, but he put on an accent which he didn't like at all, Kamala Kanan. So what happened? He rejected him. You got it? Horn effect. The opposite of the halo effect. Now, there is another prejudice called Me Too effect. Means, oh, he's like me, or he's from my institute, or he's from my village, or he speaks my language. So this is called Me Too effect. Oh, he's like me. Similarity. There is something else called leniency effect. What? Let it be poor. Everything medium, average. So this guy can't even take a decision. Everything is, it's called leniency effect. Now, considering that we are all human beings, we have certain prejudices. All will have certain prejudices, right? While interviewing, I may be aware or I may be blind to it. You know about the Johari window, all of you? I'm sure all HR people must be knowing about the
Yeah,
Yeah.
Johari window.
Blind
Not really.
spot. Blind spot.
So, what is
Blind
the public?
spot.
The public self, then the
Known to self, known to others, not known to
known to self is the public self.
Hmm.
Known to others is what? You are blind but known to others. Okay? And public self
known
is
to
known to you and known to others. And what are you blind? You don't know, but known by others. Then there is something called absolutely unknown. Even the public doesn't, even you don't know, and even others don't know. And there is hidden. What is hidden? Only you know about yourself. The others don't know. Now, when you want to develop, what should be more? So why do you give, so that you get to know more about yourself only when you take feedback. So you have to increase your public self to become what? A known, aware person. Okay? So many a times what happens, you are blind to certain things which only others know. So there are certain prejudices we all have. So we don't know, we are blind, but maybe we are actually selecting some person because, blind to us, we are actually, prejudiced towards something. There is something like a stereotypes. We typecast some people. Oh, from this institute, they're very, from this, these are hopeless people. So you already set up your mind. So you have to, first of all, become self-aware, even as an interviewer. What are some of those things I'm prejudiced about? But yet, you cannot fully become very objective. So what happens if you have a criteria, say by the competency criteria, it reduces. What does it reduce? when you have a competency based interview? What does it reduce? When you have a good study criteria of selection based on the competences, what will it reduce? Are you there or I'm not there?
Yeah, you're there. So maybe it reduces cost of employee turnover, attrition.
My context was very different. You went to cost.
Sorry, my
I'm
bad.
talking about interviewer. Huh? It reduces the interviewer's subjectivity or biases. Does it or does it not? If you have a very objective criteria, then what happens whether Rajkumar does the interview, whether Kamlakaran does the interview, or whether Ruchita does the interview, what will happen typically?
Will be very
There is an object, you have competencies, you have proficiency levels which are required, and you have proficiency levels demonstrated by the candidate. Then you are able to then rate them appropriately because the behaviors are there written and your scoring is almost consistent. Whether you do it or B does it or C does it, there will be a consistency in the rating
So
and all that thing.
subjectivity we avoid
So,
or
sub
we
no, you can't have subjectivity is reduced
yeah, correct.
by building in. So why do you have recruitment process and SOP, subject standard operating procedures, to reduce subjectivity so that
Hmm.
there is consistency in my process? So
Correct.
eliminate subjectivity. Got it?
Yeah, correct.
So therefore, traditional interviews are not, they are like chance. I may select somebody good, I may not select somebody good. Like in the performance appraisal, Kamala Kanan gave to somebody rating 4 and Shankar Power gave the rating as 3. No consistency. But if you have a proper um, appraisal system where you have the competencies, where you have the proficiency levels, then documented data on how did he do it, then whether Shankar does the appraisal or Kamlakaran does the appraisal, rating will be similar. Then there won't be any kind of a, what is it, confusion. There will be consistency and there won't be difference of even opinion because you have a standard. You have set standards. That is why in organizations, you need what? Recruitment standards, appraisal standards, promotion standards, so that subjectivity is reduced. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's so nice to listen. Now we are going to do what? A very small activity. What? Same position, you have also the competencies, you also have the proficiency levels. I will give Vilma this work. Who will be the interviewer, who will be the candidate, and observers. Because they also have the recording sheet, everything. And they have to do that.
This is the assessor sheet with all the rating bars.
I'll be an observer, Vilma. Huh?
Yeah. So, who will be the candidate?
Hi, Kamlakaran. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, good,
Good.
Manoj.
Hi, thanks, Kamlakaran, for joining this call. Along with me, Priyanka Hanpude is here. So we are going to take your interview for the position of Deputy Manager HR.
Yeah.
Okay, so before starting, can you tell us about your family background, education, career, and some achievements so that we can get about you?
Sure. So myself, Kamal. So I placed out Chennai. So it's a southern part, like in Chennai. So I born and brought up Chennai, as well as I educated bachelor, then post that completed master in MSW, and parallelly I done diploma in labor law. This is my education background, as well as parallelly I done additional courses HR relevant, so certified courses. Added to that, this is my entire education as well as the personal family, father, mother, and wife, children. So we live in a joint family. So this is a family
Nice.
and professional. Yeah, yes, Manoj.
Very good. So, you work many year with many companies and you have carried so much of experience with you. So, can I know when a situation where you have responsible for improving HR processes and what was the situation and task assigned to you and what action you have taken and any results? So, if you can
Yeah,
uh, give some example about the same, that will be good.
sure. So the first organization, it's a manufacturing industry. So where I have a freedom to explore myself as a generalist role.
Mhm.
So even not only in the generalist, added to that CSR lead for the entire firm. So I
Okay, very good.
implemented new projects that is the first projects I've initiated for the sanitation one and for the education as well. So
Mhm.
along with that, the IR part, the union, two unions are there.
Mhm.
So in that, the recognized union we have, along with my HOD, it's a great exposure to have a experience, hands-on experience on settlement. To settlement,
Mhm.
we have done it. So one is incentive as well as the another one is wage. So that is another milestone. Added to that, the engagement as well as the cost saving activity have involved in various stream for the engagement aspect, the canteen or transport. We have almost 1,000 plus employees. So as well as the other aspect, like in the engagement, we have to more focus for the employees from the home to as well as workstation. So I'll be coordinating in all the aspect. That is a great exposure to me as well as to prove myself, like where I have.
Okay. Hi Kamal. What I heard is you worked on a CSR project as well as you take care of IR as well. So tell me a time where you have handled a difficult team member.
So during my phase of in the manufacturing, the initial phase, in the HR like a role, we obviously understand there is no time constraint. In the 24/7, we have to dedicated to the responsible where we have provided by the organization. So I'll be engaging most of the time
Mm.
and even the after reaching out to home as well, because the union issues rises in all the time, like either in the canteen or the workplace. So I'll be engaged all the time as well as I'll be managing myself because
So my question is, tell me a time where you have dealt with a difficult team member. So
okay,
yeah,
okay,
sometimes in terms of difference in opinion or not aligned maybe with your thought. So I'm sure we work in teams. So if there is a disagreement, just describe me a situation where how were you able to avoid the conflict and have collaboration with the team member.
yeah. So leading the pollution control board, the statutory aspect. Okay, one among my team member, he also taken a lead. Okay, during that circumstance, the government officials asked money to provide the license. So that is one of the toughest situation because the management as well as the team member itself, they could not understand what is the ground scenario. So we have to prove ourselves. We'll be taking to the government official, and we make them understand what is the ground scenario and the what the government expectation to provide the license. Even though we have 100% compliance, but still the government official need some money to provide the license. That is a major challenge I faced it. So added to that, in the work aspect, there is no much challenges. So in the outer aspect, the statutory part, I may face one of the
Uh,
major challenge.
Kamal, her question was that how you handle that particular team member, whether you counseled him or you have given advisory or advised him or you have taken another step. That her
No,
question is.
that's what I
Okay, no issue, no issue. In your previous company, you handled the recruitment and talent acquisition for
Yeah,
large
one
number of
question is enough. Okay, yeah. Please
large.
carry on.
Yeah, in your previous company, you handled the large number of people recruitment and talent acquisition. So just because you have undergone so much of situations, so share one example where you had closed a very critical position in under pressure. So any type of situation you faced like a critical position and there was a pressure to hire that particular position within that certain period. Have you undergone this position, such type of situation? Am I audible, Kamal?
Yes, yes, you are audible to us.
Yes.
My question again, I repeat, you have handled so much of recruitment in your
short
previous company,
time.
where so much of employees you have handled, and talent acquisition you have made. So any day or any time any faced situation where the position was very critical and timeline was very stringent, and you have taken that. So you have to have that particular position in particular time, and it was very critical position. So have you undergone such type of scenario or position in your past also,
Yeah,
not only
yeah,
this
we
company?
under
So what
yes,
task you have
yes.
taken, actions, and how you measure that result?
Okay. So the similar situation, like I said, related to the R&D GM portion. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So R&D GM portion. So that is major core for the manufacturing, because though we have enough resources as well as material, so the research and development, the manager lead we don't have. So in the market, that also it's a limited industry, we don't find a suitable candidate. So we tried much in a short spam of a time, but however, who is a successional, like the next level employee, okay, we
Mhm.
coined out, and we made him train for like for that position, and we promoted for that level. So that is one initiative to because due to that we reduce the time as well as the cost as well
Mhm.
as the yeah, that makes some succession on that part.
Okay, you have done succession planning, but how you identified the successor? He was already ready, or you have identified some training for him to perform that particular role.
We already aligned, because every lead there will be a succession in the
Okay.
management.
Mm-hmm.
So only thing is, after that open position, in the open position we have to give some level of training. So we
Mm-hmm.
make the management to understand, and we provided it. And even I taken up the uh, like the role in a very well, because of that we promoted him.
Okay. Okay. So we are going to close the interview. Okay. Huh?
Many
Yeah.
questions are there pending.
Thank you. Thank you, Manoj. Thank you so much. And thank you,
Thank
Priyanka.
you, Kamal.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just want to find out from the assessors or the observers, uh, what was their observation? Write down, rather. Yeah. Quick, one or two observation. That's it. Don't tell me good, bad, ugly, but just give me one observation, qualitative observation. Anybody?
Okay. From
Little
the
louder. I'm so sorry because there is a little network problem. Yeah.
from the role of assessor, I have reviewed Priyanka Hanpude. She
Mhm.
has touched knowledge of position very well, but in terms of cultural fit, finding out the candidate whether he is going to fit in culture, that part he missed, and both the interviewer has missed that part. Uh, uh, Overall, they have rated 4
Okay.
as a interviewer.
Okay. Okay.
Shankar, actually,
Okay.
we are supposed to ask that question. Initially, you thought that we will go technical. Initially, we will maintain the.
You have to out of time for that.
No, but
Okay.
we want to set the time, then technical, then we'll go to behavior, I thought. Because unless
Okay.
and until before any technical, we should not go to behavior, no?
All right. Okay, great. But all right, I'll just have from the other person who has done it, the other person, one word from the other person. Who did Manoj? Yeah.
That's fine. Was it
Quick.
Rajkumar or Ruchita Patil?
Quick.
Okay.
Ah,
So,
ah.
yes, as Shankar sir mentioned for Priyanka ma'am, I think both of them did really good on the part that they tested the candidates' communication and competency with example and instances like question. For example, Manoj sir asked the candidate about to explain a situation where he was hiring for a critical position under pressure and with limited time. So I think that assesses the behavior element and competency of the candidate.
Great. Okay. All right. Here is it. My, um, few observations which in the very short time. In this activity, I'm not really looking at have they covered all the competencies. Okay. Obviously, like for example, in 5 minutes, you can't cover culture, you can't, and it's very important to also see culture and alignment, everything. Now, having said that, I'm going directly to uh, they started, in fact, I think it was Manoj. Yeah, started the question interview very well. Open-ended question. Can you tell us about your career, etc. But one feedback here. If you actually reflect on it, you ask too many things in it. Can we tell me about your education, your career, your professional? There were 5, 6 things in it. It was a very, very long question. Okay. Now the candidate, when he comes, he himself is a little nervous, etc. Keep your questions short and simple. You getting me? Why? Because when you keep your questions short and simple, like for example, you just want, okay, give me some clear, tell us something about your professional experience. Then he can just, because he started with his village and qualification and career and everything, listening skills. You won't be able to listen to everything so much, right? Keep it simple so that and focused so that you know exactly what you have to expect from him. In the same way, so this is called multiple questions. Again, you started something. So where he asked you said what results, everything. So he started about milestones, then he started about cost, then he started about savings. So several things. But now you cannot probe for every situation because you want to know the behavior. So for again, I'm saying, so please keep your questions simple. Okay. All right. Okay. There are 3 or 4 behavioral competencies required. Okay. See, this is a very key competency. Tell us about a situation in the recent past. Hmm? Where you had to be a leader or where you had to be a team member, and what was the challenge there? How did you go about it? So be specific about what competence you want to assess and ask him the situation. Okay, that is one thing because he went into handling canteen, etc. And in fact, you had to explain a lot of things. This is what the same thing for Priyanka. She started very well. Tell me about a time. First she said, how you handle team member. Then she explained difficult team member. Then she said to avoid conflict. You know, so keep your question. Pardon? Yeah. So Priyanka, if Manoj, you are saying something. Hello, Manoj? No. Okay. So what is that principle? Keep questions simple. Why even the other person can understand. It has to be simple and clear and focused. Okay. That is my, key point here. Stick to your competencies and see what they are. Okay. Then again, no confrontation with the candidate, but clarify the question. Okay, because I saw so too much of clarity also. So don't get into too much of clarity of saying, hey, conflict, like collaboration. No. If you keep your question simple, then you don't have to really clarify a lot. Got it?
Yes, got it.
But also, having said that, let me tell you guys, interviewing doesn't come, we think that the most easiest thing is to interview a candidate. But art of questioning is also, it takes time. It is a skill. It comes over a period of time. The moment you start, I would say don't go jump into taking an interview right away. But right away means when you have to frame your questions. You have to read the JD. You have to understand what competencies I need to have in this role context, and then write questions. If you prepare, spend time when you are doing so. Give your time, preparation time. What questions you want to ask. But many a times I tell my hiring managers and all, they say, 5 minutes I can make out whether I have to select him or reject him. You think it can happen like that? I can say whether I should select or to know. There's a process, there's a science to it. Because if you don't even collect any evidence, you just can't look at his face and say, hey, I have to select him or reject him. Got it? I want to thank Ruchika. Thank you, Ruchika. Thank you, Ruchika, for the opportunity. And I think it was great interacting with your team because all of them were very, very enthusiastic, motivating, and took a lot of participation. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was a real pleasure to have you all, and it's good that you all have participated well and understood, and definitely you will have a lot to work around it because now you have to really implement it. So lot of work for you.
Yeah, somewhere gone.
Most important thing for BEI questions. Always prepare your questions in advance and share it with the interviewer and the observer, whoever are responsible for the conducting the process. Your question should be structured and in front of you and well prepared. That is the only way of conducting a good interview. Otherwise, you might forget. That is why we have that Excel sheet, ready-made, built with all the bars and the questions and the desired answers also written into it. Then it becomes very clear. Even if the person doesn't know, he's still able to interview. Basis your set of questions and information provided. So thank you once again and wish you all the best and great learning journey for your future, and keep in touch, and we are always there to help you out whenever you need any support requirement pertaining to this competency. Do get back to us on chat, on email, whatever, and ma'am is always there, so you can get in touch with her as well to get any information.
I want to thank